Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Two Buddies and a Lot of Conspiracies. Still love that music. You get all pumped up, Eddie?
Yeah, it's actually very good.
Yeah, that's
Very
right. Like it's when I was making all my AI music, this was one of the best ones. One thing I will say about AI, though, and we briefly touched on this, is that your character looks like he's something out of nightmares.
It is
So,
like always me. Yours is completely fine. He looks like like those prints from like Disney,
oh
like
yeah,
Disney movies.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do look like the
But not
prince's son here to the king. Yeah,
yeah,
that's exactly what it looks like.
and then
You're the disfigured stepson
yeah,
that that has to clean all the clothes
the,
and.
the one that got all the bad genes because he was screwing his cousin.
Well, yeah,
That's pretty much.
inbreeding. Yeah, you got inbred for sure there. Look at your face. Yeah. Oh boy. You know, it was funny because this I was trying to get like the British, the Buckingham Palace and have the king sitting out there, and then us like, kneeling down praying to the king. I'm glad we're wearing nice fancy suits though. They probably wouldn't have let us
Oh yeah,
on the property otherwise.
and I love
Um,
how they get gold ties.
yeah, we're all set. We
Nice
look,
pair of gold too.
yeah, he's looking sharp. He's looking sharp.
I
He's
love how
got his
you always try to
crown.
do this umbrella because I always give you a hard time.
Yeah, and it's one of the hardest things because it doesn't understand. It normally puts both of us in fucking sombreros, or it makes me some random old guy with a sombrero on. You don't have a sombrero at all, even though literally it's spelled out in the description to where you're supposed to be the only one wearing a fucking sombrero. I guess I shouldn't swear already, but hey, whatever. We're into it. The I don't get it. I don't get it. AI is something that's really dumbed down for the masses, but we know there's some AI controllers out there that have been controlling us for a long time.
Oh, is that I'm probably going out of topic, but now that we're talking about AI, I don't know if you saw the video of the Russian robot of the presentation. Did you
No.
see it or no?
What'd he do?
Oh my God. So they present like the first like big robot, like they
Did it kill someone?
present no. Oh,
Uh,
whoa, that
Too
would be
bad.
fucking terrible.
I
But it's
robot.
actually it's more on the funny side. So he starts walking,
Uh
like the robot slips. It's like supposed to be like this very
huh.
intelligent robot. He slips and falls, but the fall is like, you remember like when Biden fell,
Oh,
like
God.
the
I
one
was
of them.
gonna say, is it like an old man falling? That's sad.
Yes, dude.
Oh, did you
They
feel
flipped
bad for
exactly
it?
like that. No. Well, in the beginning, yes, but let me tell you what they did. The problem was they didn't pick him out. They're like trying to get him out of the stage because it was like embarrassing.
I bet, yeah.
And the best thing that they got to do was like pull a black curtain to like,
Ah,
to like hide it.
oh my God.
Oh my God, it's so hilarious.
Look at
Just
our
like
idiot. Don't
you
look at
see
our
them.
idiot robot. Let's hide it. Clowns.
It was one small step for a robot, followed by one giant faceplant. The much-hyped Moscow debut of Idol, billed as Russia's first AI-powered humanoid robot, emerging to the theme song from Rocky. It managed a small wave before tumbling over, organizers trying to pull a black curtain over the toppled Tin Man before dragging it off stage and out of sight. The developer responding with a statement by the banged-up robot.
What is truly frightening is not to fall, but not to get back up. With love.
And then they try to they like wrap him up on that black curtain and then they like drag him out. It's fucking
Ah, Jesus.
so it's just like imagine all these Russian people just like panicking, trying to fucking cover
Yeah.
like the people that can't see it, and then you have other people like trying to wrap him up and drag him out of the stage. Oh my God, oh,
I
it's hilarious.
I wonder how many people lost their jobs that
I don't know.
day. I would say if we were back in old Soviet times, how many people lost their lives, but hey, that I almost wonder about that still, if it's just a show for us, just to show us, hey, look how stupid these things are. They're not going to replace your jobs. They're
Oh,
not going to
yeah,
replace,
probably.
you know what I mean? Like that's the same
Yeah.
thing I feel like with the AI making a picture where you have a melted face. Like, why? Why? Why can't you make a face on Eddie?
Yeah, no.
He deserves a real face.
No, no. Listen, oh, you want to be Mexican? Do you want to have a sombrero? You're gonna look fucked up.
That's it. We're gonna show you. Oh man, good, 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 good. Well,
But you see that the guy that has a crown is perfectly fine too.
he is,
That's the
he
thing.
is. Me and him are good,
Uh,
man. Me and him are solid. I
yeah.
even like my hairstyle, and my hair's growing kind of long now. I might as well do that style. It'll work out. I gotta grow my beard out longer though. Um, but so, as far as topics for today, and this is probably gonna, I was warning Eddie a little bit. This might be a little long, boy, because we do have two interesting topics. The first one, as you can
That's what she
see, the first one, as you can see here, is going to be based on the British royal family, which I completely misunderstood from when I just read his alert level. But it'll all make sense as we go through here. And then the second one is going to be on the Bush-Bin-Laden connection. So that's what we got. Chapter 11, Royal Family, and then Chapter 12, Bush-Bin-Laden connection. And I know I briefly mentioned it, I think, in our last one, but we are going to be doing this book for the next multiple years because there's so many things in here. There's 539 pages, and we are currently on page 51. So it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a while. But topics we're gonna go over. I got a bunch of videos for us to watch, which are gonna be good, and you're gonna be like, "What?" At least on a few of, actually on both topics here, because the first one here, WWF, which I kind of gave it away when I talked to you earlier about it, but WWF, do you know what the WWF is? Besides the
No,
wrestling.
I was just about to say that. Is it bad? Is it bad because before it was WWE, it was WWF.
It
That's the
was
first thing.
WCW and WWF. Those were the two wrestling federations that they had out there. And then there was a lawsuit
That's
from the
why.
World Wildlife Fund that said, no, WWF is ours. And that's why they became, I think, WWE now, I think is what they call themselves.
Yeah, WWE.
Yeah, so,
Like when I saw so many WWF,
huh?
I don't know. I'm thinking about the wrestler.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's what's funny. Whenever good luck Google searching WWF
Oh
for
yeah.
like
Oh my.
incriminating videos, it's like nothing but stupid Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock doing weird things. It's like, no, that's not what I want. I want the World Wildlife Fund. It's silly. It's totally silly.
The Undertaker.
Right?
Oh,
Yeah. And I think he's still even doing it. And he's like 80 years old. It's like, come on, let him go. Let him stop doing these things. Like, release him from the contracts, guys. Just give him money and use his name. Like, that's it.
no, I think the Undertaker's finally retired, my man.
Is he?
Well,
Okay,
I
good.
think, yeah, I think he's finally fucking done. Like,
Well,
Jesus
he's
Christ.
like 110. You shouldn't be
That guy
throwing
went through
people
all the
around.
federations.
He did. Yeah, he went through. He saw it all.
This is how bad it is. Like I remember my brothers that are like 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
They used to watch The Undertaker,
Oh, I bet.
and
Yeah.
then my generation, 11 years difference, I watched The Undertaker. My
Absolutely.
my little nephews that just turned 10, they know The Undertaker.
That's a problem. That's a
Fucking
problem. For real.
generational fucking wrestler.
It's a
Yeah.
household name. That's what he is. He's a household name. But yeah, so what we're gonna talk about, I got a video. It's the World Wildlife Fund Intelligence Review. And that's the best name I could probably pick for it. When you see it, you're gonna be like, I guess that probably works. Then we are going to talk about the World Wildlife Fund's funding and locations. Then we're going to talk about expanding info of the World Wildlife Fund. So there's going to be a bunch we got to read, Eddie, just FYI. Then World Wildlife Fund Connections. This is going to be about something completely different. This is a podcast that they have where they're talking about Operation Gladio, which was, I forget now. I watched it, but we'll see when it comes up. But it talks about connections because it's all connected, Eddie. I feel like I'm in a conspiracy movie. It's all connected, but it is. Then World Wildlife Fund
like
Displacements.
You're like the meme of that guy that's like,
Yeah, the crazy
he's
alien
like
guy,
crazy.
right? Yeah.
No. There's another one where he's like, he just has like a normal like clerk outfit, and then he has like fucking like a bunch of whiteboards behind him with a bunch of stuff, and he's like,
Oh,
he's
you're
going
talking
crazy.
about Charlie. Charlie from It's Always Sunny. It's all connected. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It is.
There you go.
It really is. It's like, it's funny. And the more we go over all these like cult things, the more we see, oh, yeah, the billionaires are there too. Oh, yeah, the billionaires are there too. Okay, all right. Looks like the billionaires are really there in control. Then we're going to read about the World Wildlife Fund's displacements, because no one really talks about who they displace when they take over an area. Then the World Wildlife Fund's advertisement, which you're going to be like, what? 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 Why would they even do that? That's just in poor taste, because it is. And then it actually segues perfectly into the intro to Bush Bin-Laden connection, which you know nothing about. Well, let me ask this.
I know that there was the only thing that I know,
Uh-huh.
like a conspiracy theory that I know about Bin Laden is that, well, the only one that I've heard. Sorry, it's like that Bin Laden was like a CIA agent
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
CIA asset, absolutely. We're going to briefly touch on that as we go through. So we got intro to Bush and Bin Laden, then we got info on Bin Laden that we're going to have to read. Then we got Bush Bin Laden video, another one that's going to be like, oh yeah, more confirmation. Then there's Al Qaeda information, which is supposedly formed by Bin Laden. So we're going to read about that. Then we got info on a big event, which I think everyone's going to understand the big event. And then we got the closing. So that's all for that. For what we're actually going to go over. So
Fair warning, because you said that we're gonna have a lot of reading, so we're probably gonna have. I'm probably gonna have a lot of hippopotamus moments.
I don't know if you
So,
will. You might. There's some names in there that you'll probably try to
well,
avoid.
I'm just fair warning before we get into it.
We
And
are
also,
all ready for Eddie to mess up the words.
Another thing too. This is actually funny. Like like I told you. Well, I don't know if I brought it up like a few times that like my parents are like very old school Mexican.
Uh,
It's funny because right now that we're touching on Bin Laden, like it's more rare. Like I would assume like here in the States, like it was a little bit more common to like parents like to kind of know about some sort of like conspiracy theories or something that was like talked among people. You know what I
killed
mean?
thousands of people, you mean, in America? Took
No.
the
I just mean like no, just like conspiracy theories, because I remember
Oh,
like
okay.
father used to bring up like the one that like that Bin Laden had so many doubles and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's very funny because that's like a conspiracy that my dad like used to bring up. Like, oh, that they say that he has so many clones and stuff like that.
Telling
Like they're
me,
never gonna
man.
get him.
Clones are everywhere. It's true.
Like he has so many doubles and stuff. Like he used to say stuff like that, and that's like that makes me laugh because it's like like that's like the only one that I have like a memory of him like bringing it up a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Well,
like, oh,
I can tell you that he was dead on. He was totally right, and he was only scratching the surface of all the nonsense that actually goes on with even just that
and like
small topic.
I remember even when like they came out like all over the news, like oh they got him, they killed him, but they never showed anything.
They never
Like
showed
I think
anything. We buried him at sea. Oh, really?
yes, halfway through it, we just dumped them in the sea for
Well,
respect.
that was his culture, Eddie. Come on. I hope that they're as good to you as they
Again,
are to him.
as a country, we killed them like fucking terribly, but let's give them his final
Yeah,
respect.
we
You
shot
know?
him in the head, but while we're at sea, we have to just dump him overboard. You know?
Didn't they have like what? Didn't they have like drones and dogs, or who was that? No, no, that was the other guy. The like recently was it because Trump was the one that organized that. Who was it? Was it the ISIS guy?
Maybe. You know, they make up these things, Eddie.
Well, yeah,
That's
but
not
I mean,
real.
no, but yeah, regardless, you're telling me that every single mission, like even normal officers have
Uh,
cameras in their. You're telling me that one of the highest trained military, uh, through this whole mission, didn't have like a whole reunion of like all this politics looking at this mission go down and
it was
nobody
years
had.
ago, Eddie. They didn't have
Okay,
surveillance like they have
shut
today.
up. You know me better than fucking. They have fucking X-ray
They
vision.
didn't have the spy planes like they have today, okay? They
They
were
have
getting
fucking.
shot down by fucking RPGs,
They,
okay? Come
the
on.
like what's it called? Like the night mode. They
Night
like
vision.
they probably have
Night
like
vision goggles,
night
baby.
vision. They have some crazy ass
Honestly,
fucking
they have
technology.
cameras on all the helicopters. They have cameras on all the fucking spy planes. They
So,
have
here, I'm just gonna tell you this. You remember fucking Step Brothers, the movie?
yeah,
Like how old is that movie? And they have fucking night vision
that's
goggles.
that dude, they've had night vision goggles for a very long time.
So you're telling me that they didn't have the technology, the government? Come on, get the
I'm
fuck out of
joshing you, Eddie. You know I know.
here.
Like,
Fucking,
I could
you're so
almost
fucking.
well, like the funny thing is too, like we play these Call of Duty games, which oh by the way, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 came out, and it's like great.
I heard that is terrible. I saw like a video today of like the final boss, and it looks like a fucking guy from Resident Evil. I'm
Oh,
like,
I hope
what the
so.
fuck?
I haven't played the campaign yet.
Oh
Um,
no, I just saw the clip and I was like, it's a, like, oh, this is like because Resident Evil 9 I think is coming out,
uh,
and they're clowning it like the campaign because it was like, oh, this is like a cool Resident Evil 9 boss, and then it's like, oh no, it's Call of Duty 7. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing?
oh, that's
How do we go?
ridiculous.
How do
You
we
sure it
go from
wasn't a zombies thing? Was it a
no,
guy?
no, no, no,
It wasn't
no,
a
no,
guy in
no.
a hat
It's the I double checked is the actual Call of Duty
campaign.
campaign.
Wow.
It's like a
Okay.
guy transforming into like a flower thing.
they've
Yeah.
they've lost all their ideas. They can't just make a fucking
Yeah.
military game. They have to make it
No.
fucking Resident Evil. Awesome. Awesome. Clowns.
I wouldn't be I wouldn't be surprised if they start fucking like introducing now like in Warzone like Leon Kennedy or and like all these other fucking characters.
They might as well. They put Beavis and Butthead in Black Ops 6, so that's
Oh, and
ridiculous.
then they're just gonna be like, oh, Call of Duty was a prequel of fucking Resident Evil. Some
That's
bullshit
it.
like
It's all connected, Eddie.
that.
Oh man. Fucking A. Fucking A. Well, here, let me read the first. So I'm going to read the first paragraph and then I might decide to read the second paragraph. Whatever. Let me read the first thing. So the British royal family. Send her victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the Queen. From God Save the Queen, the British national anthem, which is great. Long to reign over us. Not a popular sentiment with followers of conspiracy theorist Lyndon LaRouche, who has the 80-something Queen of Great LaRouche. That's the 80-something Queen of Great Britain fingered as a drug runner, and her husband Philip as the instigator of the Rwanda genocide, thanks to his private army, the World Wildlife Fund. I know, you thought it was about saving pandas. There's something also about pandas, which is weird, but I'm not getting into that. And quite possibly the eliminator of Princess Diana. So yeah, so I'm just gonna read that first paragraph there, which they did kill Diana. There's something going on there. The funny thing is, huh?
There's no doubt about it.
No doubt
That was
about
like,
it at all.
these are like conspiracy. Like I'm liking this because this was like at a very early age. Like these are things that like in Mexico they brought up like in news outlets because like I obviously like I'm telling you like I have the background of that, and they used to bring it up like they used to bring it up like in news outlets down there in Mexico like yeah this is not like they used to question it more
Oh yeah,
than like I don't know how it
yeah.
was here in the States. But in Mexico, they're like in national news, they'll be like, "Yeah, this was like it seemed like a setup and stuff like that."
It was widely accepted that she just died, right? That she wasn't like killed. The certain
No, no,
circles
no.
would say,
And in Mexico, they were like used to say in the news outlets that she was killed.
"Oh yeah, no. I meant that I didn't mean killed as far as like that. She died, right? Died in the accident or whatever bullshit.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like it was
So
not like
for some reason, and it's all the media, man. It's because the media tells people how to think here in America, and we value what they tell us. We say, yeah, no, okay, I believe you. Yeah, it wasn't killed for any nefarious purposes, even though it seems like she was maybe pregnant, and maybe that was something to go against the aliens, the alien lizards. So let me read the last like paragraph.
allegedly, allegedly,
Lizards, confirmed
allegedly.
lizards. Um, so the last paragraph here is brings up one of our friends to. I'll read the last two paragraphs. It says, "Did I mention the lizards?" Question mark. Oh, hang on. Fuck it. Let me just read the end of it. Did I mention the lizards? Yes, the Windsors are alien lizards with a penchant for ritual sacrifice, which we saw before from David Icke. Thank you. Just one human to be slaughtered on the altar of their cold-blooded inhumanity was Princess Diana, who had to be killed after she discovered her in-laws' extraterrestrial nature. No, it's not a metaphor. According to Icke's researches? Yeah, you said researches. The reptilian bloodline of the British royal family has a sub-branch that runs through the U.S. where the president is always the candidate with the greatest number of royal genes. Consequently, United States presidents are not chosen by ballot. They are chosen by blood. That means the Brits already have their hands on the U.S. Don't tell Lyndon LaRouche. Lyndon LaRouche was actually, he went to be president of the United States a while back. British royal family are the imperial masters of the planet. Alert level 2. So, I didn't put up the graphic in here yet, and I'll probably do it later, but there actually is a connection to, like, majority of all the United States presidents actually are bloodline linked to
Yeah,
the crown.
I've seen that.
So like some like eighth
Yeah,
grader or something came up with it, and she figured it all out, and it was like,
yeah. Oh, that I remember that.
how
When
did that
that came
not
out.
blow everybody's mind? Like, oh, so
Yeah.
maybe we should probably look into that before we supposedly cast our vote,
A young girl connected all the fucking dots.
right? Isn't
That,
that a shame? What are they doing at
yeah.
Stanford? What are they doing at Harvard? What are they doing at Yale? Besides
Let's go.
the
Let's go
skull
to
and
like
bones.
the school that most majority of them go to.
Right.
What the fuck is Harvard doing?
What?
Harvard.
Harvard,
Why
I
can
said
they?
that, yeah. Why, yeah.
No,
Why
I
is
know.
Harvard not doing any research into it? Yale's not doing any research into it. Stanford's not doing any research into it. But yet some young child is the one that decides, yeah, hey, I did the research, and no one paid me to do it. Therein lies the thing.
I had a project in school, and I just started looking into it, and
Right.
that came up.
Yeah, it took me a weekend, and I figured it all out. It's like, good.
I connected the dots.
She did. She's the new dot connector.
It's all connected.
It's all
It's all
connected.
connected.
That's going to be our graphic for the day.
That's going to be the phrase for this episode.
Absolutely. But do you have any other questions that I might be able to? Okay, so you
I
want to?
think we went a little off track.
A little bit. So this one here you're going to like, though. So this is from the Lyndon LaRouche archive. So I do have him referenced in here, and you can see I already gave it a thumbs up. But this is, and if you can read behind there, it's how Prince Philip's environmentalists commit genocide. And so this is our first video for the day, which after you watch this, Eddie, it's not 27 minutes. It actually is 27 minutes, but I cut it down. It's 19 minutes, just FYI. But after you watch this, you'll be like, those motherfuckers.
I cut 8 minutes of it.
I did. Shut up. I did. I made it more palatable. But yeah, okay. So you ready to see how Prince Philip's environmentalists commit genocide? You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's roll. Good music to start.
It's like those creepy old movie songs.
I just got this morning from one of our European offices an urgent appeal. This is a tiger incarcerated in a telescopic site. It's an urgent appeal from the World Wildlife Fund saying this is probably the most urgent appeal that they've ever launched. And they point out the fact that a number of species face extinction.
You'll probably see
now that latter point is true. And it's true because they directly, and in some cases Prince Philip personally, killed these animal species. The WWF, at its founding in 1961, took under its wing, in particular, the African elephant, the African rhino, the Indian rhino, the panda, and a few others. Now, the African elephant was had a population of about 3 million when the World Wildlife Fund was founded. Today, it's several hundred thousand.
Ants on the fucking podium.
The African rhino had a population of 100,000. Today, it is virtually extinct in the wild. The panda, as Prince Philip said in 1990, is almost certainly doomed, although they're trying to take over vast areas of China to try and put forward panda parks to allegedly save this thing, and so forth and so on. Prince Philip, a couple of months before the WWF was founded in 1961, went on a hunt, a tiger hunt, in northern India and slaughtered a bunch of tigers. Now, of course, the tiger is precisely what they're saying is going extinct. The Indian tiger is going extinct now. Now, there's a total uproar around the world about Prince Philip killing all these tigers. So as he continued on his travels, he put a bandage on his trigger finger. And he participated in another hunt, but with this big bandage there, so I can't possibly
actually
see
remember hearing about
that.
Now,
he and Queen Elizabeth with her home camera whirring away, mounted, as part of a broader party, 300 elephants, and they went out to kill more tigers and other species. Now, Prince Philip, as the elephants started closing in on various kinds of game, a extremely rare Indian rhinoceros, of which there were only 250 in the whole world at that time, came within the circle of elephants. All of the royal party were horrified because they knew that Prince Philip would shoot it. So various people tried to shoot near the rhino to scare him away, etc. As the rhino kept blundering on, Prince Philip took aim, and bam. So there were 249 left in the entire world. Now, if the WWF has not been protecting the animals under its purview, what has it been doing? Well, in order to understand that, you have to go back a bit in history and look at the two key institutions which came together to found the WWF in 1961. They are, number one, the Society for the Preservation of the Wild Fauna of the Empire, of course the British Empire. Number two, the Eugenics Society of Great Britain with its arms in the United States, continental Europe, and elsewhere. Now, in the 1880s and 1890s, as you're all aware, there was a mad scramble among the European colonial powers for domination and territory in Africa. By 1900, a convention was pulled together in London under the auspices of the British Empire to basically set up a series of areas where the native populations who had been conquered would not be allowed in as part of the population control programs of the empire at that time. In 1903, to formalize and to carry this work further, the Society for the Preservation of the Wild Fauna of the Empire was established. The people who established it were the leading lights, the legend of British imperial history. Lords Milner, Curzon, Minto, Cromer, Grey, the great imperial proconsuls of the New Rome. They put this operation together, and throughout the decades, what they sponsored most in particular, their key job was to found national parks, beginning in Africa but then expanding all over the world. In 1933, and again in 38, the fauna, as it was called by its oligarchical members, pulled together conferences to set up international parks. Now, I give you a certain sense of what Africa looks like in its modern form today, and without the work of the fauna continued by the WWF, it is absolutely impossible to understand modern African history, nor, for that matter, increasingly the history of the rest of the globe. Could we have the first slide, please? This is Africa. The dark splotches are the so-called protected areas. In general, if you're an African and you go into a protected area, you will either be shot and killed, or if you're taken captive, you will be subject to disciplinary measures, including confiscation of your goods, your home, thrown in prison, etc. The percentage of the African continent now taken up in these protected areas is nominally 8.2%, according to the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, which is one of the WWF co-thinker groups. In reality, it's much higher than that. So the idea, as with the enclosures in the Highlands in Scotland in the 17th and 18th centuries, was to set up broad areas of the countries where the subject population was not allowed to go, the better for imperial control. Now, the WWF manages and in fact runs the game parks in 5 of these African countries directly under its own name. That is, the countries themselves do not run anywhere from 8 to 40% of their national territory. It is run by a supranational body, the WWF. In 5 countries, that's directly the case. In about another dozen more, it's indirectly the case. And in some sense, through training of their disciples as game wardens, it's the case in virtually every single African country. So that's one. That's the first institution which helped found the WWF, is the Society for the Preservation of the Wild Fauna of the Empire. The second, which is much more crucial ideologically, is the Eugenics Society. Eugenics means racial purity, race science. The thesis is that certain kinds of skin colors bespeak a moral and racial superiority to other kinds of allegedly inferior skin colors. Now, this was put together beginning around the 1860s and 1870s by a series of people, including Darwin, including T.H. Huxley, so-called Darwin's bulldog. Using the work of Thomas Malthus, they cooked up a theory of the survival of the fittest. And whoever survived, they said, naturally was the most fit to survive. But they said that, therefore, since the British Empire was ruling the globe, clearly the British, and adding a few Americans in perhaps of their type, this was the most superior racial group which existed. And you will see throughout the work of the WWF, the founding of the WWF and through until today, an intermarried tribe of people, the Darwin-Huxley grouping, using this work of Malthus, which in fact goes back to Venice in the way that Webster had identified, a small amount of land and too much population spreading and spreading and spreading. Well, what's the basis under which we're going to deal with this problem? Well, we cull the human herd. On what basis do we know how and who to cull? That's the science of eugenics. Julian Huxley when he founded the WWF in 1961, was also the president of one of the most important institutions of British intelligence, far above MI5 and MI6, the Eugenics Society. Huxley, when he was the head of UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Social, and Cultural Organization, which was founded in 1945-46. Now remember, World War II had just ended. Hitler was associated with a heinous doctrine of eugenics, which of course is mass genocide, right? That's what the concentration camps were for, to get rid of the gypsies, the Jews, other people, perhaps of Mediterranean races, so-called. Well,
right.
Eugenics had become a bit unfashionable. Here's what Julian Huxley wrote into the founding document of UNESCO. Thus, even though it is quite true that any radical eugenic policy will be for many years politically and psychologically impossible, it will be important for UNESCO to see that the public mind is informed of the issues at stake, so that much now that is unthinkable may at least become thinkable. What the founding of the WWF in '61, this had been prepared already in the 1930s in the very direct sense. Huxley, at that time, was research director of a thing called the PEP, the Political and Planning Unit of Chatham House, that is the Royal Institute of International Affairs, the think tank for the British Foreign Office. The guy who was director was Max Nicholson. And if you go back and read their own writings, what they say is, we need population control, raw materials control, and a world government to assure control of the former two. That is what will define our work in the post-war period. They said that before there was a war. They and their associates in the nexuses that Jeff Steinberg outlined, they pushed the war and they consolidated the shape of things to come after the war, in which this establishment of these vast supranational game parks was absolutely crucial to their design. Their design to cull the human herd. Now, can we have the first of the game parks maps, please? Okay. Now, I don't want to go into, at great length, all of the game parks that are established here. Just point out a couple of indicative ones and their role. Now, first of all, you notice from this map as well as the previous map that most of these game parks are established or in border areas. Now, for those of you familiar with African history, when the maps were drawn up in London, they were totally random. Most African countries are not demarcated by rivers, by mountain ranges, and so forth, right? So the placement of the game parks on the borders was done for a reason. They could have put them anywhere. They were placed on the border to have maximum cross-border control and destabilization capability. Now let's look at some of the, just again, a couple of the indicative points here. This is the West Zambezi Game Reserve, a game management area, as it's formally called, in Zambia. That's where both the MPLA and its UNITA opposition for Angola were trained. The ANC was trained down here, as was also SWAPO, right, in number 2, is just below the west, actually contiguous as part of the Zambezi Game Reserve, although called by a different name. SWAPO was trained there. Here in the Etosha Game Reserve in Namibia were trained the assassins who conduct the third force black-on-black violence in South Africa. And I think most people are aware of how that works. Inkatha allegedly goes and slaughters some people of the ANC. The ANC return the slaughter, and away you go. In reality, most of this and the continuing perpetuation of it is not done by Inkatha and ANC. It's done by a so-called third force. And the third force has been trained here at Etosha, here in KwaZulu, and here on the border of Mozambique in another game reserve. The Kruger National Park, 20,000 square kilometers, larger than the state of Massachusetts in the United States. This is Renamo's headquarters for the savage civil war which is going on in Mozambique. Now, how do these things work? The gangs, as the British call them, and the pseudo-gangs are both financed and orchestrated by British intelligence. Now, this does not say that there are not people striving the best they know for freedom, for national sovereignty, and so forth within the vehicles that they find available to them. Of course. That's the essence of the national tragedy that you see unfold in African nation after African nation. If you look at the post-war period, the great dreams of 1961, the late 50s and the early 60s, for true sovereignty, true independence at last, were perverted and destroyed precisely through these measures. The establishment of the game preserves, and then the running of mass assassination, terror, and gangs and pseudo-gangs out of those reserves. And you see the results, right? You see the results in Mozambique, which has barely reached a precarious kind of a peace in the recent election, but with how many hundreds of thousands slaughtered, how many tens of billions of dollars of damage, a minimum of 500,000 people killed in Angola, minimum, probably much more than that, a minimum recorded $40 billion in damage, a minimum 10,000 people slaughtered, black Africans slaughtered, simply since Nelson Mandela was released in 1990, and so on and so forth as it goes, right? Zambia was the staging area. You see the percentage of Zambia taken up by national parks. Virtually all of the gangs and pseudo-gangs of modern African history came out of Zambia. Similarly, for other parts of it, Tanzania also had a major role in this thing. You will notice, in the case of Tanzania, you'll notice that this is actually very deceptive. 40% of the entire territory of the nation of Tanzania is not under Tanzanian national control. It's under WWF control. Okay, I think that's sufficient for that. Could we have the next map, please? Okay, here we're looking at, this is basically Eastern Africa. I don't want to spend a lot of time here. Let me just point out one crucial point. This is the Kadebo Valley National Park in northern Uganda. What you see here, this is contiguous to Sudan, of course, right? This is where the SPLA rebels are based. Tony Rowland announced himself as the commander of the SPLA in a radio interview in 1993. Tony Rowland, of course, financed UNITA on the one side, and the MPLA on the other side, financed Frelimo on one side, and financed Renamo on the other side, financed the Afrikaner government on the one hand, financed the ANC on the other hand, financed the Smith white minority regime in Rhodesia on the one hand, financed ZAPU and ZANU on the other hand. What Rowland did, and Rowland's company was put together through the personal fortune of the Crown. The company was never anything but that, right? What Ronro did is what all of these groups, ICI, Unilever, Royal Dutch Shell, you name them, that is what they do. That is documented. That is a matter of fact. I think we'll look at some of these other things. Again, these are other areas, which a massive train. This is the famous Serengeti National Park, right, in northern Tanzania. The Ngorongoro crater area. Again, massive guerrilla training of all sorts there. Red Chinese in the past, Russian, various of the South African, the ANC had people trained there, the PAC in particular had people trained there, so forth and so on as it goes. You remember the famous movie, some of you, The Serengeti Shall Not Die, the famous movie of the 1950s? That was the propaganda piece to establish this gigantic border of, cross-border territory for a staging ground for guerrilla activities. It's been proven, by the way, since all of the native peoples who used to be living in the Serengeti, in particular the Maasai tribesmen, have been driven out. It's been proven without any question that since there's no people in the park and no poachers have been caught in 3 years, the reason why the rhinos and the elephants are being slaughtered in the park is because the WWF paid game guards are killing them. With the WWF, of course, well aware of this. This, I think, kind of really brings the picture home.
This is the bad
Now, what we're looking at, of course, is Rwanda, Burundi, Uganda, and eastern Zaire.
Heard of Rwanda.
Now, in both 1990 and in the April 1994 invasions, they were organized, equipped, established, and the training for these invasions took place out of the national parks in these border areas. Both invasions in 1990 and 1994 came through the game park. This is the Akagera National Park in northeast Rwanda, contiguous to Uganda. This is the main staging area, by the way, for the 1994 invasion. This is a savanna. This is a grassy plain. It's where you can bring up tanks, heavy equipment, and so forth in staging area. More important in the 1990 invasion, which is really what set up the stage for the current slaughter that happened in 1994, if you follow the history of this thing carefully. What we're looking at here is the Gorilla National Park in Uganda, number one. Number two, the so-called Volcans, the French name, the Volcanic National Park in northwest Rwanda, and you're looking at the Virunga Park in eastern Zaire. They come together at that tri-national area. That is where the guerrillas were established, giving a new meaning, of course, to the famous film Gorillas in the Mist. If any of you have the work of Diane Fossey and the famous mountain gorillas in northern Rwanda, well, this is the kind of gorillas that the WWF likes is the G-U-E-R-I-L-L-A. So this is how this thing was done. Now, in 1980, the invasion was in 1990, right? In the latter part of 1990, October, I believe it was. What happened in late 89 and early in 1990 was massive efforts were set up to save the elephants of Uganda and to save the gorillas of Rwanda. Now that was interesting because there's not many elephants in the gorilla park in Uganda. The elephants, in fact, are hundreds and hundreds of miles up to the north in the Murchison National Park. So they flew in massive amounts of military equipment to fight poachers, in the case of both so-called for the elephants on the one hand to save them and to save the gorillas on the other hand. And what that was used to do was to arm and train the RPF, which was otherwise simply a unit of the Ugandan army. And anyone who knows anything about the area knows that to be true and knows that they were organized, financed, and trained by British intelligence and British SAS. That's the way the thing worked.
That's how it worked. Honestly, nuts, right? Like, you remember, did you not see that movie, Hotel Rwanda?
No.
You didn't see that movie? It's terrible. The whole thing.
Nope.
The genocide Rwanda was awful. But yeah, look at like Rwanda's here. Look at exactly where the World Wildlife Fund has their blocked off protected areas. It's literally, and why are they all like cross-border stuff too? Like, there's something going on with that. Like, there's definitely more than they're telling us, I'll say. And the fact that that's actually how they gained access to Rwanda and these different areas, like, it was from cross borders. They got trained here, they went into there. It's like, okay, so there's something to it. There's definitely something to it. I don't trust the World Wildlife Fund.
The only thing that I was gonna say, the thing that like screwed me the most is like how he explained like what it was, like the territory that he was showing on the map. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh yeah, if you go to any of these parts, like
oh yeah, as a black African, you'll be shot. You'll be shot, and they'll take all your shit. It's like, oh, okay, great.
And the thing that amazed me is you look at like the map and like all the areas.
It's like everywhere.
It's like, if we consider that, like, it's like obviously it seems small and like a big picture of the map, but I bet you this is like fucking like huge ass territories that is just like, and then it's just like one after the other after the other after the other.
Oh, absolutely. But the thing that still gets me is they're all cross borders kind of stuff too, which kind of makes me want to look at the American map and these forest preserves that they have that are cross borders, and it's like,
And then, well, this is one thing that I wanted to ask you because I kind of didn't understand. So, like, those territories are like not are run by like the government of that.
They're run by the World Wildlife Fund.
Okay, so they're like they're not.
And they're it's an NGO, a non-government organization that runs it. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what I understood. So I just want to clarify.
Oh yeah,
that it was.
Absolutely. Okay. That is not from Africa. That is not, like, Rwanda isn't in charge. Uganda isn't in charge of these areas. The Congo isn't in charge of these areas. This is literally some random third party that has nothing to do with them saying this is our territory. Fuck you. That's literally it. Yeah, it's weird, right?
Oh my God. Okay. I guess.
So going into the next thing then, this is where I wanted to find out, because he said the UK, it's Prince Philip and all that. But I asked here, and I'll read this first one here. It's, what country funded the World Wildlife Fund? Because I figured, why not start with the money, right?
And you can read the top part, and I'll read the...
There's more to come. I'll read the whole thing. Trust me. So... The World
You just don't.
Wildlife, huh? There's gonna be big words in this one, okay? I see already like 12 characters in a single word.
You're preventing the hippopotamus.
I'm gonna
That's
try
what
to
you're
get
trying.
you over that to start with. Yeah, absolutely. So what country funded the World Wildlife Fund? And the World Wildlife Fund, WWF, was not funded by a single country, but was established through an international partnership of scientists, business leaders, and government officials from various countries, with initial support from the UK, shocker, and the Netherlands. It was conceived in 1961 through the collaboration of HRH, I don't know if that, I think that means something, Prince Philip of the UK, and HRH, Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands. The organization was formally founded in Morges, Switzerland. I don't know how to speak Swiss. International Partners, the WWF, was created as a collaborative effort between individuals and governments from different nations, not as a project of one specific country. Key figures. Its foundation was spearheaded by two key figures, Prince Philip of the United Kingdom and Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands. Founding location. The organization was conceived in 1961 and its first office was opened in that stupid name, Switzerland.
Mortgages.
Which, here's the
Mortgages.
other thing. Do you think that it's set up in Switzerland because they have the whole same thing with like the banking, right, that
Hey,
we've heard of?
if we're going back like till it's all connected, there's a lot of sketchy stuff sometimes happening.
Right?
Okay, like in previous episodes, we've talked about like all the bank system and shit together.
Yeah.
Back to it, like
It all connected, baby. Early national support. The first national organization was the UK's, shocker, followed soon after by the US and other national appeals. Okay.
oh, and just FYI, I googled what you were reading.
Yeah.
HRH means His Royal
His Royal
Highness.
Highness. Yeah, I figured that was what it was. Fuckers. Fuckers. They shouldn't get that. They were just
No,
all they did was their parents had sex and they were there. And now they're royal? Like that's the thing that still gets me, man. That's the thing that still gets me. I told you there's a lot to read. I am going to have you read the left one, and then I'll read the right one now, since you were so ready to read that whole page.
I was trying to help out.
I
People
told you
say
there's a
that.
lot to go, man. We got a lot of fucking reading coming. So,
That you're the only one that reads and just try to push me to the side because I do a lot of hippopotamus moments.
I think you'll make it through this one, okay? There isn't any bad stuff here. I'm kind of just scanning
All right,
through. Yeah.
famous last words. How many world wildlife found
It's already
fun?
starting.
Wait, you got me nervous. You got me nervous. You died. Like I was so confident, and then you pushed me to the side, and
It did.
ruined
Here.
my knowledge.
I'll let you read. I'll drink my beer. All right, there you go.
How many world wildlife fun locations are near war zones? It is impossible to provide an exact number of World Wildlife Fund WWF locations near war zones because the term is not precise geographically, political, or political designation. However, the WWF does operate in several countries affected by armed conflict or instability, including in Africa, Asia, and Eastern Europe. Why an exact number is not available. Geopolitically, instability changes rapidly. The locations and intensity of armed conflicts are in constant flux, making any precise number quickly outdated.
But
So hold on. So like here, they can be one location and they just can change that location to a different location, like just
no,
whenever they want.
what they're saying there is geopolitical instability changes rapidly, which means that shit gets fucked up all the time. So because they're set up in the Congo, now there's a war in the Congo. So that's pretty much what they're saying is that Wars pop up all the time, everywhere. So you can't tell you exactly.
But here, okay. But I got another question.
Yeah.
So let's say they sign this territory that it's like they're gonna have their base or whatever. I
hmm
don't know. This territory is assigned to WWF. Um, Once that is assigned, like this is just stable, or they can just pretty much dictate like another territory if they want. That's what like my question was going.
Oh, so yeah, no. Once that's established, it's just like I want to say it's very similar to like being on the endangered species list. So like once it's there, it's locked in forever, kind of a thing. So
Okay.
if these guys set up in Uganda, oh hey, we're in Uganda now and we're here to stay because we're protecting the elephants, and then sure enough, they killed all the elephants themselves. Um, but yeah, so I'm pretty sure when they set up shop in certain areas, they are there to stay, and then we all fund them
Like
to stay there.
this topic is very interesting because
Isn't
like now I'm questioning about.
it? Yeah.
I'm like, why? Like, okay, yeah, you're trying to save a species, or like my thought process right now is being like, is there some sort of resources there that you just like
Nailed
masking
it
this
on the
as another
head.
thing?
Nailed it
You,
on
you
the
know what I mean?
head. Exactly. No, you're exactly right. Because why would they take over a certain area of Africa?
Yes.
Oh, and then find out, oh, hey, guess what? There's diamonds here. Oh, there's silver here. Oh, no, what happened? I'm sorry, we didn't know that. Yeah. So that's actually part of the reason I
Okay.
have the next video about all this coming up here in a little bit, because
Okay.
it kind of adds in that kind of a, oh, yeah, this is what they were doing.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. I'm gonna continue. Risk
That's it.
mitigation. The WWF
You missed the
has
whole
developed
conflict
frame.
sensitive operations for safety, security, and ethical reasons. Conservation organizations like the WWF must remain adaptable. They cannot maintain a fixed
Also,
number of operations near war zones and must adjust accordingly to the changing political and security landscape. Now you can read risk mitigation.
okay. All right. It's just because I was just amazed
I
at
know,
like
it fucks your
the
mind up thinking about
how
this
they,
shit. You're like,
yeah.
wait, aren't they supposed to just be protecting animals? Like, why are they in war
Makes
zones?
no, it makes no sense.
No, it's all
Uh,
weird.
Risk mitigation. The WWF has developed frameworks and safeguards to guide their work in unstable regions, focusing on the well-being of their staff and partners
hmm
and adapting their oh my
Conservation
god,
work.
conservation work to the realities on the ground. Okay,
Mm.
I'm just gonna read a little bit of the other one because you
You
helped me
feel
out
bad
with that
now.
one.
You feel bad now. That's what it is.
WWF work in conflict affected regions. Instead of providing a specific number, the WWF focuses on the challenges and strategies from working in these regions. Some examples of their work include Congo Basin. Is that
Yeah,
how you say
Congo
it?
Basin.
The WWF and other organizations have worked with governments in the Congo Basin region, where armed conflict has been a problem to create
Nah.
protected and it's oh here it says and manage forest resources.
Yep.
Oh my god! Wow. Okay. Central Africa. Some national parks in Central Africa, including those in Cameroon and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, are in fragile or conflict-affected areas. The WWF has developed guidelines for how it operates and partners with government rangers in these high-risk
Mm.
areas. Oh my
That
god.
seems questionable, right? And this is all Google AI bullshit. Like,
I know. It's like, oh, here. I
this
want to
gets
read this.
better. I'll read this next one. Yeah.
Ukraine,
So you.
following the
Oh, you got it. Okay.
okay, following the 2022 invasion by Russia, the WWF. So, okay, I'll add something. The WWF US suspended funding and fundraising for Russian programs and focused on supporting colleagues and affected communities in Ukraine. So hold on, I'm just like, so it seems like by what we're reading right here, every single time there's like a conflict or something
WWF's
in
nearby, aren't they? Right?
hold on, this is what I'm trying to see. Like, either this is my theory. Every single time there's a country conflict or like a war zone, how they want it, like they phrase it that way. Is this organization just goes there and just tries to fucking steal resources from like these danger area? Pretty much is
So
this
is
legit?
that the chicken? Is that the chicken and the egg scenario though? Is it were they there before and started or helped start the conflict?
Yes, this is what like
Or
the
did they
questions
go
that are
there
popping.
afterwards to take over the land and try to get some resources for themselves? So therein lies the question. And if we had, the next week, we could probably sit through and look at when did they establish or when did they tell us they established this location.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Therein lies the next question is, are they even telling us the truth when they got there?
mhm. Or are they the ones causing the like you
Right.
said, causing the conflict and then
Yeah.
just taking over territories because why not?
Fuck it. Let's make some money.
And I was gonna ask, who benefits from the WWF? Do you have something later on explaining who benefits from all of
So,
this?
I mean, because so as far as the next video kind of talks about it a little bit, but like if they're actually using these areas to have other, the banks, I will say, make money on all wars, right? They fund both sides of the wars, and they will help make. So if anybody's going to benefit from everything, it's going to be the banks. Also, if you want to look at the destabilization where everybody's all fighting each other, would that be a way to usher in like a new world government where, hey, if everybody's in the same government, then we won't have all these wars and it's all the new world order kind of bullshit. So there's kind of a question of that. But we fund the WWF because the WWF isn't going to make any money, right? Technically.
Allegedly. It's
Allegedly, their organization is just for the protection of
it's
wildlife.
one of
So
those
it's like
non
right. It's just supposed to be a nonprofit organization to where they're not making any money, but they're making sure that elephants are getting around, the gorillas are getting around, and the flowers are all still there in the forest, right? So
Here, can I just put a quick side note on here?
sure,
Because while we're doing this, I just looked it up. The only thing that I typed in Google was like, obviously we're using Google AI. It
that's the
says
best.
I just typed in who benefits or sponsors of WWF, and it says the World Wildlife Fund, the WWF, is sponsored by a wide range of entities, including individuals, foundations, governments, and corporations, and benefits the environment and wildlife through
Yeah,
the conservation efforts. For example, the WWF receives funding from individual donors and major foundations
yeah, buddy.
like the Moore Foundation, the Rockefeller Brothers Fund.
Shocker. Those guys again.
They also partner with governments. Example, the United States Agency of International Development
Blammo.
and corporations. Watch was the first one. The only example they give us, the Coca-Cola Company.
Perfect. It's funny actually. Listening to that video when the guy mentioned Unilever, I remember hearing of a lawsuit that had happened where the workers in Africa they were picking like the leaves for the tea for Unilever. They were treated they were being treated unfairly, and they actually had a lawsuit against Unilever. And I don't think anything happened with that, and it never really changed anything, and they still beat them. So, so it's like,
Uh, I was also going to point out this because I remember, I don't know if me and you were having a conversation or what the case was, or like something that I just came across like growing up.
mhm.
Because you know how popular Coca-Cola is, right?
Oh yeah,
And I remember like
shouldn't be, yeah.
researching or something like this, and I can't remember exactly. I know it was a war. It was either World War One or World War Two that pretty much the company was sending out like the troops or whatever, and they were sending Coca-Cola,
Yeah,
and that's how fuck it became a worldwide name brand.
that's
And
probably true. It was
and
probably
it is
World
just
War II, I would think, if
and
anything.
then all the things that we're reading about the WWF and how they establish themselves on fucking zones of conflict,
Hmm.
it just makes sense.
Oh
It
yeah,
makes so much sense. And then I just read like one of those paragraphs, like when it says corporations.
yeah.
How I told you it only mentions the
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
It just says the Coca-Cola company being a notable partner. So it's just like,
Yeah. So who else is involved?
are these fucking companies been involved with all this shit for like how long? You know,
Yeah.
it's just like, oh my
Well,
god.
that's the funny thing about the corporations. That's when you look at the BCCI bank scandal thing. But then if you want to even go even further back, you can look at World War II with all the corporations that got in trouble with helping the Nazis because they actually gave them products to kill the American troops and the European troops and all this. It's like, oh, okay. So it's all a corporation game. It's not about individuals, not about any of this. It's all, let's make sure we take care of the corporations, and as long as the corporations are taken care of, then everybody's happy. Because the people everybody forgets about is the United States is actually a corporation in itself. So the corporations,
Every
all
every
everything's
government.
every government's corporation. So the
Mm-hmm.
corporations take care of each other. They do not care about the people at all.
Unfortunately,
At
unfortunately,
all. Yeah.
or if, or let's say, well, because I don't know about here in the U.S. Well, I think one of like, well, because like it's harder for me sometimes to talk about like U.S. topics or like things from history because I was raised in a different
Yeah,
country.
muy español.
Um, but like, for example, when the few instances when there was actually like somebody that was getting somewhere in politics or like in a power position,
Yeah.
and the people start praising him and following him, and he gets a larger audience, it's unfortunate, but he gets killed. Well, in
Absolutely.
Mexico,
If he's not a part of the group,
exactly.
he gets taken out.
There was like
If
this
he's not in
very well
Bohemian Grove, he's not invited to be in politics.
in Mexico. We had like a very very popular um how can I say it? Like somebody
Politician?
running for president. Yeah, politician that was running for
Yeah.
president, and he was like um very popular. Like he was a people politic, pretty much. I think that's the proper way. Um, and he was getting so big, and in one instance, like he had like a big how do you say it? Oh fuck. Why can't I not think of the word right now? Speech, like I don't know, like a big speech, like days before the election, like
Uh-huh.
when they were gonna start voting. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Did he have a
And he
debate,
pretty
or did he just do like a speech?
no, he just did like a big speech. Yeah,
Okay.
and when he said it, pretty much he kind of like went against his own party
Party?
and said that well some of the people because like like how the Congress has like both parties members like
Well, we
members of
saw that in Mexico. There's like 9 different parties,
yeah.
which is
So
insane.
there's like the main of them like there's like three or four that are the main ones.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like he pretty much said that once he got to the power, that he was going to start to clean up and actually go through corruption.
Yeah.
And like he was going to start with like internally, pretty much.
Yeah.
And 2 days, like a few days after that, then he got killed.
Oh,
His
absolutely.
name was Colosio. His name was Colosio, and it was like a big scandal. Like everybody knows it's an inside job. Like it's just a fucking. It's like one of those big instances where like the killer
JFK.
was never. That's what I was gonna say. Like I was gonna bring up if there was like an example of like a JFK, but like I don't know if exactly like if that was the same instance with like the Kennedy family. You know what I mean? If it was just like
JFK wanted to dismantle the CIA and get rid of the banks, or at least get rid of the Fed. And those are the
technically
claims.
he was like what I said, right? Like
Yeah.
a politician of the people, pretty much, correct?
Supposedly, yes. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I'll
Okay.
say supposedly because the Kennedy family has a history that's interesting and muddled. So, like, and there's a bunch of conspiracies on that, which I think we're actually going to go through a few of them here, which we'll see if we ever get a realistic answer or whatnot. But I'm sure to have some videos for everybody to watch. that's for sure. But yeah, no, well, didn't it just happen? I'm pretty sure that Jaime was telling me the couple
Yes,
months
it
back.
just happened.
It just happened in fucking where was he from? Where's he from?
Ecuador.
Ecuador. Yeah,
It happened in Ecuador.
yeah, they literally just killed a guy. They had a motorcycle where they had a guy in the back, came up with a machine gun, shot him dead, and boom, moved on because he was going against the government and he wanted to clear out all the trash.
And here, unfortunately, it literally happened this month in Mexico again.
You're kidding.
He was no, I swear to God, it just
Jeez.
happened. If I'm not mistaken, like the November 3rd or something like that, but it was like very recent. He was I don't know the proper way to say it. Like he was the mayor of a city, and he just
Was he
kept
the
on going
mejor?
against. No, no, no. Because in Mexico we call him when you're the president. Like
Was he the
here, I don't know. Like
mayor or
each state.
something? The governor?
Yes, he was a mayor. The
Mayor
mayor,
of a
because like in
city,
Mexico,
governor of a state, all right?
of a state, yeah, so governor. He was a
Okay.
governor because like in Mexico we call them presidente of like the state. We
Okay.
mentioned like for instance, like the president of the country and then the president of states. You know what I mean?
Gotcha, yeah.
So he was like in a very very conflict state pretty much, and he always raised his voice. He always fought against like how the corruption, the same things that unfortunately always happen in Mexico, like the corruption, the killings, all this and that, like the narcos and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it's very unfortunate because like I saw it happen,
Mm.
and he used to always say like in interviews, like unfortunately, like I decided to speak up and try to fight things,
Yep.
and I only have two ways out of it now. One is they find a way
Yeah, he either
to.
goes along with the game plan or he
No, no,
dies,
no.
right?
He didn't put it like the game plan. He put it as like either they find a way to put me in jail,
Oh.
or I get killed.
Yeah.
And yeah, unfortunately, it was exactly on the Day of the Dead, my man, November 2nd. Now that I remember,
Ah.
because he was in they were doing like you know how it's very big, like they were doing like a presentation,
Yes.
like they do like all these altars and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and he was there, and he got killed, and like
Wow.
while they were doing like something based on the Day of the Dead.
I almost wonder if there's something to that day though too, that killing someone that big on that day does something extra.
it probably means something. Yeah, you're
right?
probably right.
You know, like
Hmm.
we don't realize that like witchcraft and that kind of shit, like
Oh yeah,
that's all
yeah.
real, man.
Like,
That all happens all the time.
it's like and shit. Like right now that you just brought it up, like I just got chills all over my body.
Yeah,
But
100%.
but I mean, like, yeah, it's like a lot of stuff that who knows about it, you know? Like,
Right. Well,
when
we
there's
did
like
watch
so
that
many.
Bohemian Grove thing where they literally go in the fucking forest and burn a sigil to was it Baphomet or no, not Baphomet, it's Baal, yeah. That motherfucker, wow, yeah, they actually burn an effigy to Baal. These people are weirder than we think, man, and we're only
Oh yeah,
scratching the surface.
who knows? Like, like everything is like, how that saying, information is power. Like, who
Yeah.
knows what type of like all these people that like have a descendancy of like years and years and years, and they like
Hmm?
probably have knowledge or books or this and that
They might
you don't want
actually
people with.
have the true story that we don't even know anything about.
Yeah, and who knows? Like we pretty much just see them as rumors or like stories to tell and stuff like
Hmm?
that. But
Scary
who
stories to
knows
tell
what's
in the
out?
dark.
Yeah, like who knows what's out there? You know what I mean? Who knows what's
We
written in
don't
books? Who knows
know
what?
shit, man. I can almost like. You ever heard of the Greater and Lesser Keys of Solomon books? You ever heard of those?
I've I kind of heard about it. Like I don't really know much about the subject, but I've heard
So
brief about it.
there's supposedly like actual spells in there when you read them, and I remember I was gonna buy them, and then I remember I'll never forget. And I don't know if they put it on there because they didn't want people buying the books, but down in one of the comments from somebody had actually said that after he had bought these books and started reading them, um, he literally started like hearing shit around his house and things moving and things falling down and like shit breaking, and it's like honestly it did its job if it was trying to get me to not buy them. It's because I did not buy them. I'm like, that's the last thing I need is to start hearing crazy shit around my house. Ugh.
Like yeah, that's the thing. Like there's a lot of stuff that like that's what we're saying. We don't know a lot of stuff. Like
No,
you know how sometimes they say like a human body uses like only a certain percentage of their
we
brain, and
use like 6%
like
of our brain. Yeah.
so who knows what we're even capable of?
100%.
You know,
Well, the other thing
like
though is like I read a book once about word magic, and that's part of the issue I have with like languages in general is that like Latin is what we all should really be learning if anything, because then we can actually see the root words of our words that we're saying. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because it all
yeah,
started here and they took it and they brought it over here, because what we say here sounds exactly like they said there, but yet their meaning there was something detrimental. Our meaning here is supposedly good. So it's like, is it inverted on purpose or what? You know what I mean? It's very
yeah. Like
strange.
we have, but yeah, no, like who knows?
Who
Like
knows? No, you're not
that's
wrong there,
the
man. Who knows what we're doing, what we're saying, what we're thinking? Because that's the other thing too. Like even with reading a book, you're thinking and your thoughts are projecting it, right? As opposed
exactly.
to you didn't even have to say it out loud, but you just didn't know that you just cast a spell on yourself and now you're gonna die in 25 days. And it's like, oh shit, I fucked myself. Great. It's like
Or like
watching the Ring
another thing
movie.
another thing that I've like seen that's happened like a lot of like well couples that like let's say you guys are in two different parts like I think is like common amongst like couples or something like that that like let's say you're connected to a certain person to some degree or some level
Hmm.
that like say that some type of experiences like let's say they're in the same room but in different parts of the room and one of the person like it's like starts like thinking of a song. Let's
Hmm.
let's put that example. Starts singing the song in the head, and then the partner that's across the
Start singing
room
it out loud.
singing the next part of it.
Absolutely.
So it's just like that just tells you like
Well, it's just
how
like
much like
finish each other's sandwiches, like that movie had that one day. But no, honestly,
Mhm.
we're all connected on a whole. There's a lot more connections you think. There's just like you remember when Jaime would tell you that he'd send a message out to a person via his brain. He wouldn't call him on the phone, and then literally like within a day or two, he'd actually get that person to send him either a text message or call him on the phone. It's real, man. We are really connected. We really
Or like
are all
or,
connected.
or like what they say like a good like de-stress or like something that can help a human being a lot is like take your socks off and just
Go
walk
walk
barefoot in the grass.
barefoot in the grass. 100%. That honestly, connecting to nature is what all of us should be doing a whole lot more of. I don't do it because of the fact of I've seen all these damn things about ringworms, or not ringworms, hookworms. And so my brain, for some reason, is fucked when I think about taking my shoes and socks off and walking in the grass because I think I'm going to get a fucking hookworm now that hooks into my foot and then climbs into my body, and then they're going to have to take it out on a stick like I saw in Africa. Like, these are the things that I've seen in my days that have fucked me from connecting to nature, and I really should be. We should literally be sitting, laying in there, and then also insects, like ants crawling on you, and spiders, and all this kinds of shit, and it's like, they're in the grass. You know they are. They're there. They're waiting for you. It's like, no, go out there, walk, go enjoy. If something
That's
happens,
what
you'll
I'm
be
saying.
okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like they programmed you already, my
They
man. They
fucked
already
me.
programmed.
They did. They really did. It's like, it's unfortunate because like there's a lot of things like when I sit back and I think about it, like all these things that I should be doing. I should go out and hug a tree. But you know what? Trees have sap, and trees have fucking locusts on them, and they have all these things on them that are gonna get you. And it's like, really? It's a tree. Like, it's not, probably not. Like, come on. Oh, fucking
All right.
programming.
So, all right.
Fuck you,
Let's
media.
go back. Let me read the last.
I'll read
Let's
the
go
last
back to
bit
the last.
here. I'll read the last bit here because I think the
All
next thing
right.
is a video. So, addressing environmental impacts of conflict, WWF, the World Wrestling Federation, and partners have produced reports highlighting the link between environment, security, and peace, and address the specific risks to biodiversity in areas with armed conflict. I don't trust that. I don't trust that whole fucking paragraph. But for the most accurate and current information on specific WWF projects, it is best to check the organization's official lying website. Oh, I'm
And
sorry, I
here, I
added
was
the
gonna tell
lying.
you this.
Yeah,
Because I assume this organization has been going around for decades, right?
long time.
I'm probably. Yeah, let me just look this up. I
Look,
wanna
look it
I
up.
wanna have
I
something.
was about to, so go ahead. Yeah, look it up.
Oh, information. Okay. Let me
Good
see.
luck
Oh,
typing in
okay.
WWF organization.
Oh, okay. It says WWF, world largest conservation organization with over 5 million supporters worldwide, working in blah 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 blah. It has invested 1 billion in more than since 1995.
So the World
Really?
Wildlife Fund was founded in 1961 by a group of conservationists, including Sir Julian Huxley and Max Nicholson. So 61.
Why does Google say also? Why does it say 1995?
I don't know, man. Why would AI lie?
Oh, it's not AI. I'm literally looking at the.
Oh, the actual website? That's a mistake. Because AI Overview is what
Mm-hmm.
told me it's founded in 1961.
Because with the point, what I was trying to see. Wrestling. Fuck. I can't even see. Because the WWF Wrestling, when did it started?
Maybe that was 91.
When wrestling. Because what I'm trying to say, or the point that I was, um, the point what I was trying to say is that why did it take them so long?
To switch it?
Yes.
Well, I
Like,
guess
do you
the
think
real
it was like
question
what?
is when was the lawsuit?
Yeah, because this is what I'm trying to say, my man. If okay, so it was CWC, then it was WWF, and then in 1979 it changed the name again to
Yeah,
the
1994.
WWF.
Yeah, so because you searched that, it's the most significant lawsuit for the World Wrestling Federation include a trademark dispute with the World Wildlife Fund that led to the company changing its name to WWE in 2002 and a lawsuit against Vince McMahon for steroid distribution charges. That was decided in 1994.
So the WWF, like World, the World Wrestling Federation they did it in 1979. So the WWF, as it says right here, started in 1961. The thing that I was trying to say is like, what if there's a big what if
Uh-huh.
for it to be harder to find information and kind of like fuck it up?
Yeah, no.
Did they allow it to go on for a while and then they're
Absolutely.
like, okay, now let's go for it.
Well,
You know what I mean?
Well, here's
I
the
feel
thing.
like,
Here's the question I'll ask you. How many times have you ever heard a conspiracy theory and then you Google search it and it's a fucking movie that came out?
oh yes,
It
you know which
happens
one? I don't
all
know
the
if I brought.
time.
You know what happened?
Ah,
The most recent one that I have memory of is what when they were saying that Jamie Foxx was cloned.
yeah, he's in that stupid They Cloned Tyrone movie.
Exactly, and that
Hmm.
was like the one, like the most recent one that I'm like, yeah,
It's
you search. It started ringing a lot of bells, and then started like getting like a lot of attention of like people
oh
noticing
yeah,
like, oh, he looks very different and this and that,
he does.
and then that movie just fucking out of nowhere came out like
It isn't it
in a few
rather
weeks.
convenient? It's almost like they're
Yes,
already
and
making
then
AI movies.
whenever you looked up like Jamie Foxx clone, it was like, oh, who cloned Tyrone? Or
Yep,
like, I'm like, it's like it's so fucking
100%.
obvious. Like, it's just like,
It's almost too convenient, right? It's too
it
convenient
it, it
that
is some
these
point where
things are
it's
happening at
just
the
fucking
same
comic.
time. Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
100%.
Okay.
So
All
you're
right.
gonna jump from your 6.6, by the way, because I know you're at a 6.6 now. You're definitely gonna. By the time you're done with all this, I don't even want to say it, but you're gonna be up there. Okay, you're definitely gonna be up there. Um, it's unfortunate that we're only on chapters 11 and 12 and you've already jumped like 5 points. Like I feel like you know what I mean? Like it's
Well,
just
like
crazy.
this is a very interesting one. Like I like when it like involves history, wars, and this and that, and then you just like put two and two together. Like there's always this fucking organization that is a non-profit one that is
Yep.
convenient. It's convenient
Right.
in every fucking company.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this next one
It's,
here, huh?
it's like the thing what I'm saying. It's just fucking comical at this point. Like
Dude.
it's just like
Well, the joke is, you're seeing this now. I've been laughing about this shit for years in a lot of these different scenarios. Maybe not like these couple things, but like most of these things I see come out, and it's like, oh, I heard about that years ago, and we're talking about it again. Oh, okay, all right, that's funny. But then like I was talking with the whole movie thing, it just really is a comical thing when you think about how many movies are out there right now. And how many things, like when you hear about a conspiracy, Google search it. Guess what? You're going to see 5 movies that are going to pop up, or 5 songs that are going to pop up before you get to the article that actually talks about the conspiracy. It's like, okay. Well, why would they try to bury it to where you search number 5 or 6 or even page 2 or 3 before you actually get any information about it? Shocker, because they did the algorithm. They realized people look at the first 3 searches and then they move on. They got us all figured out, man. They know what they're doing.
Oh yeah.
They know what they're doing. This next one here is what I was mentioning in the beginning. That's kind of gonna like have some connections. It is gonna seem, especially from the beginning, it's gonna seem kind of off. Like, why would you show us this? But then as you go through it, you can be like, oh, I get it. But this is, and it's probably hard to read up at the top, but it's the Alpha Warrior Show.tv podcast. This is on BitChute, and it looks like it's also on Locals of Rumble, but I found it on BitChute. So, again, all the links are going to be in the comment section so everybody can take a look. And just like we've done from the very beginning, Eddie and I are here to give you information for you to explore further, because there's a lot more information out there that we don't have enough time to go over. So I do want everybody to sit and take a look and see what else they can find out, because it's going to be kind of crazy. Any more questions or anything you got before we roll this next one, Mr. Eddie?
No, yeah, go for it.
All right, you're going to like this one. And here we go.
Go down to the bottom of that. It says there's something else for you to look at. The Berkeley Mafia. If you click on the Berkeley Mafia, it starts talking about the exact same thing, only in Indonesia, after they couped that government. So I was like, holy crap. This is like the gift that keeps on giving. It apparently, this Truman Doctrine that was set up, that Eisenhower basically sets up the paramilitary capability to make it happen. So Truman has set up the international program to train everybody, getting ready for Eisenhower to be president. Eisenhower comes in and he sets up Gladio for the paramilitary to bring about the coup. They start coupping all these governments, and then the educated elite that Truman set up falls in on these governments after Eisenhower overthrows them. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. So at that point, that's where kind of the World Wildlife Fund comes in. So that takes us through basically the 50s. And they're working throughout South America to set all of this stuff up. And then you jump over to Africa. Well, Africa has fallen apart as far as their old colonial rule. You've got the late 1950s and the early 60s where, we've already covered the Congo where they assassinated Lumumba. That was in 1961, January of 1961. So during that time frame, the freedom movement is all over Africa. Well, they don't want freedom breaking out everywhere because they're going to lose their grip on all of the resources because these are colonial overlords. And so at this time, they set up this World Wildlife Fund. It was set up literally a couple of months. The first planning meeting happened in April of 1961. So just, Lumumba, if he had a body, because he didn't literally have a body because they boiled him in acid, but if he had a whole body that had been buried in the ground, he would not even have been cold by the time they're cooking up the ability to recolonize Africa after the quote unquote freedom movement. So the Congo being one of the very first ones, they're going to free the African countries from their colonial overlords only to recolonize them by using nonprofits like the WWF. And I'll explain
Yep.
how they did that. So, ironically enough, its actual birthday for the World Wildlife is September 11th. Not even kidding. It was set up
Doesn't surprise
in
me.
Switzerland, and there's a whole bunch of people that are involved in this. But one of the key people is a guy by the name of Julian Huxley.
Yep, we heard about
And
him.
he's a eugenicist. He thinks that only the elite people get to live. Everybody else should die. Big Planned Parenthood guy, big into humanism, the Gnostic mysticism, all of that crap is swirling around this whole organization. So he is also the first president of an organization called the British Humanist Association, which basically is, we get to live, you die type scenario. He also won a special award
He was also the first
in the
director
category
of
of
UNESCO.
Planned Parenthood called World Population. So you get the idea of who this guy is. He's instrumental in setting up the World Wildlife Fund. So the guy that doesn't believe we all ought to live is going to be running the World Wildlife Fund.
Sounds like
And
a winner.
he obviously is Aldous Huxley, Aldous, Huxley's brother. He's a universalist. He's the guy that wrote The Brave New World.
It's a good book. Everyone should read it.
And his and this definitely stays in the family. Their grandfather created a thing called the X Club, which was a dinner club in the UK that basically their claim to fame was to have created a publication called Nature. And it basically, all of the members of the Royal Society was all part of his quote unquote dinner club. And dinner club's going to come back in a minute. Just so everybody knows, in late 1800s, early 1900s, that was the thing to do in London, is they had dinner clubs. All of the men got together once a month, rotating people's houses. There's a lot of weird things that were said to have went on during those dinner club meetings, not just discussing how to kill people. But so I'm going to go through a couple of the people's names. Another guy was Edward Max Nicholson. He's an internationalist, globalist, one world government. He founded the Oxford University Exploration Club. You're going to sense or see the developing of this nature theme. They all go on these international jaunts all over, but they spend very little time on the ground. They fly over.
And you said his name was Edward Max Nicholas?
Nicholson.
Edward Max Nicholson.
Nicholson, okay.
Yeah. Nichholson. And so this club, along with others, the Oxford Club, supposedly was exploring nature, but also had all the experts necessary to scout for resources. So they used nature as as the cover, if you will, for covert operations to go into foreign countries to do resource exploration. So they said they were there, trying to count how many elephants there were, when actually they were doing excavations for what kind of minerals laid in the ground. They did this in Israel, in the desert area of Israel. But this is the same guy later on that is going to be in charge of UNESCO, and UNESCO plays heavily in this whole World Wildlife Fund scenario as well, and I'll explain to you how in just a few minutes. But this same guy that's leading these geologists, disguised as nature conservation, trying to figure out, because what they're going to do is after they decide where all of the minerals are, they're going to come back under the guise of the World Wildlife Fund and UNESCO and declare these national parks. So the Congo has all of these big national parks. Angola does, Namibia does, Tanzania does. All of these national parks were pre-scouted for where the resources are. And they tell the countries basically, I'll explain to you how this is done.
I think I gave
So in the 1960s, and we'll use the Congo since we've already covered it, they have the guy Mubatu that got installed by the CIA after they assassinate Lumumba. He's bought and paid for by the CIA. The World Bank loans him, and I'm making this number up, but let's just say it's $5 billion. He can't pay it back. He pockets some of the money. He recycles some of that money back to the, everybody that's got their hand out. And all the country is left with, the Congo, is a debt, and the people can't pay the debt. So the World Wildlife Fund comes to Mubatu and says, hey, that $5 billion we loaned you that you can't pay back, wink, wink. If you give us this area over here, we're going to call it a national park, and we'll take care of everything. We'll supply the park rangers. We'll do everything. Just let us have the land. So, of course, that guy who now has foreign bank accounts with, hundreds of millions of dollars in it, it's like, sure, go ahead. And then, he turns around and goes, oh, look what I did. I got rid of our debt. So he looks good. They look good. We're going to get a national park out of this. The problem is that because of the resources that are on that national park, and oh, by the way, indigenous people live in the woods because these are like rainforests and stuff like that. They all had to be moved. So when they decided that they were going to move these indigenous people, if they didn't move, they'd kill them.
Yep.
And they set up, weirdly enough, a lot of them were right on the boundaries of other countries. So they would set up, in the case of like South Africa, they set up these parks on the border of the other country.
Yeah,
then they put paramilitary Gladio people in these national parks as quote unquote park rangers.
All connected.
They launched military missions into the other countries to destabilize them. And in the case of South America, they went into Angola, they went into several countries along the border, and then turned around and said, you guys are having a lot of problems. For South America, who everybody was given a ration of crap because they were all racist, and they were apartheid government, they were saying, hey, you're making us look a lot better because you guys are all unstable countries. Well, they were unstable because France was giving weapons to Israel, who was giving weapons to South Africa to launch military Gladio missions for coups into Angola and Tanzania and all of these other Namibia countries along their border, Rhodesia, Angola. So they were using World Wildlife fund national parks to do all this stuff. And
So-
again, in the case of South Africa, they found prisons in the national park. They found stashes of weapons. And so there's this guy who is doing filming for the World Wildlife Fund. And he goes down to South Africa, and they're telling him, as he's doing the documentary for him, he's like a cinematologist, and they're telling him that there was a million elephants killed. And the guy's not stupid. He's like, really? Because he's looking around at these, like in the areas where these elephants in the forest, where these national parks, where these elephants were supposed to have been killed, you've got guys that are like cattle herders, the indigenous people that are living in the woods. They're ranchers, they're cattle. And he's like, they don't even have guns. How kill a million elephants? And so everything that he's seeing as he's doing these films, he's like, something's not right here. So after he was finished with the documentary that he was doing for the World Wildlife Fund, he pays for himself to go back, and he starts snooping around. And he finds out that most of the elephants were murdered with landmines that had been planted by these paramilitary folks from South Africa. They weren't shot, and they were like blown up. And whether it was a million or not, who knows? But none of the stories that the World Wildlife Fund was telling were truthful. None of them. So,
if I can interject right there real quick, Colonel,
sure.
because as you're describing this, and I know it's, well, maybe a different organization by name, but I start thinking about like Catholic Charities and the way they're building all these camps south of our border where they're doing humanitarian aid, and then the cartel helps them come up the Darien Gap. They cross our border, and now they're being placed all over our country, all these illegals, military age men. And it just makes me think of what you're saying, what they use these wildlife preservations for, to get everybody congregated there, and then they could go and execute their missions. I mean, it's just a very eerie similarity where the only thing different is just the name of the entity.
Right?
Yep.
Is that not fucking, like, you see why I put the clip in here, right? Like, it starts off about Operation Gladio, but it brings, like, all this shit kind of, oh, that's why. Makes sense. Just like we were talking. We were, like, you brought it up first. You said, what about resources? It's like, yeah, absolutely. What about resources? Oh. All these NGOs, these non-government organizations, they're all a front for something, man. Because one, you got to wonder, how are they making their money? How are they paying their officials? How are they paying their executives? Like, you know what I mean?
It's like, and you know what I see it as, and don't get me wrong, there's probably some people that join these non-profit organizations because they want to do some good for the world.
Oh, I can guarantee that. I can
Just
guarantee
gotta
you that there's a lot of people joining. Same thing with you donating to them. Think about all the money you give to Red Cross. Think about all the money you give to all these different types of things. You give it all because you're like, oh, it's a good thing. American Heart Association. Oh, yeah, please. But have they really helped anything, or they just collect money every year?
That's what I was gonna say. Like, the more we look into stuff like this, like the way I see it is like these non-profit organizations, like there's got to be like somebody from a different corporation or this and that is producing billions, or who knows,
profiting
just
off of everybody's, taking everybody's good fortune.
Or I was gonna say, like, they have this company that's making billions. Like, let's just put this as like the idea I have. Making millions upon millions, and it's been like a thing that yes, the people that make the most money, they try to write off this, this, and that.
Yeah,
So,
they don't pay
what
any
makes you think
taxes.
that all these corporations, they don't set up like these organizations or this nonprofit organization so that way they can have huge
Oh,
tax
another
write-offs?
another write-off. Absolutely. 100%. And that's why these big corporations do invest money into these types of things because it's like, okay, we made $100 billion in profit, right? And I'll see if I can find it, but I don't know, we might have mentioned it before, but do you remember 2008 when the banks were going to collapse? Do you remember that? Were you around at that time? Maybe not. You were what, like 12 at that time?
No.
Okay.
What?
So
Yeah.
during
Well, I
during
was technically
okay, all right, whatever you
12,
want to pretend,
exactly.
whatever you want to pretend. I know Eddie's like 18 today. Okay, so uh, in 2008, when the banks were going to collapse and our number one president that everybody loved so much until you actually dig deep into it, Barack Obama, had mentioned that these banks were too big to fail. So what they did was our government, our tax dollars, supposedly, even though they just print money, bailed out all these banks. And then there is a side story, and like I said, I'll try to find it if I can, but this is something that I had heard, which wouldn't actually surprise me at all, was that they went to all the places that they gave, all these banks that they gave all this money to, and said, hey, we'll give you an option here. You can either pay it back in full, or we will credit you like $2 for every dollar you spend, but you have to fund our NGOs. So if you put all your money into an NGO, and they're all Democratic NGOs, we will actually give you $2. So we'll give you $2 for every dollar you spend. So essentially, they only had to pay back like half the amount. And I wouldn't put it past our government, and I wouldn't put it past all these NGOs out there to set up a deal like that. Like that like doesn't surprise me whatsoever. But like I said, I'll try to find it. I'll try to put up a graphic. Unfucking real, man. These NGOs are out of hand, and there's way too many of them too. There's way too many of these non-government organizations that work with the government and with the people. It's like, well, why do we need this non-government organization? We're already paying the government to do this same deal. You know what I mean?
And this is the thing, like, I do want to go back to it. Like, I want to say that there's probably some people that do invest or become part of these organizations, but to like do it well, like
Yeah,
do good.
100%. That's the same thing with
But
churches. Same thing with churches.
but unfortunately, it seems like time and time, like it's just proving that there's somebody behind all of this that doesn't have the same intentions.
Absolutely. There's a controller that's there to just make money and take advantage of all the people. It's like a con man. It's literally like a con man that takes advantage of the goodwill of the people to profit himself. And we've been conned in all this shit. Probably really have.
Yeah,
It's wild. Absolutely wild. But yeah, this lady was good though, right? Like she's got an idea of what's going on. What's funny is that the Alpha Warrior, the guy on the left, he's the one actually going on Wikipedia. So all the shit's on Wikipedia and all the shit's on Google AI. Just ask. You just have to ask, and you'll get your answer. But yet we don't do that because we're told by the media that we don't need to look into this.
it's like the information is there. You just gotta look for it.
Just gotta look for it, man. Just gotta fucking look for it, and it'll be there. Otherwise, if you don't look for it, you ain't gonna find it. Fucking ain't gonna find it. Ugh, wild, wild, wild. Any other questions you got before we go into the next thing where I believe we are reading again?
No, let's get into it.
All right, let's do it. So this is where I wanted to ask, and I could probably read all this myself if I want. Is there a link between UNESCO and the World Wildlife Fund? Because that was what she had brought up with Julian Huxley, who's in UNESCO, who's all about, that's the UN. What was it? United Nations. What was it? I saw it earlier. Does it say it in here? It doesn't even spell out what UNESCO even means. Oh no, yeah, here it is. Environment Program. No, that's UNEP. It was something about science, community, and whatever. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Fuck those guys. Don't give any money to them, guys. So is there a link between UNESCO and the World Wildlife Fund? Yes, there's a link between UNESCO and the World Wildlife Fund, WWF, through multiple collaborations on conservation efforts, such as joint projects to protect World Heritage Sites, shared research, and calls to action for other industries like insurance. Another scam. They work together on specific sites and broader issues like combating illegal wildlife trade. That's their concern. Joint projects and initiatives. The WWF contributes to UNESCO reports, including the World Heritage for Sustainable Development in Africa report, which use data from WWF-Site, which I did not click that. Both organizations have partnered on projects to protect specific sites, such as the Sangha Tree National Protected Areas and the Galapagos World Heritage Sites. You know, they love to throw Galapagos Island in everyone's face all the time. It's like, we get it. There's shit there that doesn't go anywhere else. To strengthen management and combat threats like poaching and invasive species. Like, they're not the invasive species. UNESCO has partnered with WWF on the Pacific Biosphere Reserves Network Advocacy and Awareness. They have joined the other partners like the UN Environment Program, UNEP, to call on the insurance and reinsurance industries to help protect UNESCO World Heritage Sites by reducing their support for activities that could damage them. Speaking of which, let me just take a step back. The World Heritage bullshit, like, they destroy all the old buildings. So, just as an FYI, they destroy them. They don't fix them. Then they jointly highlight the threats such as those posed by illegal wildlife trade to species within World Heritage Sites. Shared missions. WWF explicitly mentions preserving UNESCO World Heritage Sites as part of its mission. Acknowledging the value of the World Heritage Site classification framework for understanding human and natural systems, as noted in a National Institute of Health.gov study. Some of the foundational figures behind both organizations have had overlapping interests. For example, Russell Train was instrumental in the World Heritage Convention and was the founder chairman emeritus of WWF, notes this UNESCO World Heritage Center news article. So you got UNESCO that's taken over the old buildings, and then you got the Wildlife Fund that's taken over the rest of the area and just making sure that they can get in and do shit and make sure that they take all. Well, that's another thing. You're thinking about resources. What about these old world buildings that have information in them that we don't know nothing about that the UNESCO has taken over, right?
Yeah.
It's fucking A, man. It's all connected.
We go back to the thing that I was mentioning, like books and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's unreal. And now I'm going to make Eddie read all of this because he wants to read so much.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Really,
Yeah, let me introduce this. This here is what she was mentioning about displacements. So you know how she was talking about how you have to displace the people because you're taking over the area, right?
Yeah.
So
And if
yes,
they didn't want to leave, they would just kill.
blammo. So here you go. This is from Google AI. So go ahead and read this out. At least read the left one, and then I'll read the right one.
All right, sounds good. Yes, the World Wildlife Fund (WWF) has been linked. Oh my God, to the displacement of indigenous people from their lands.
Yeah,
Through
they
the
could give a
organization
shit.
states. Oh no, yeah, and I'm gonna try to say something. To the organization states in it respects their rights, yeah, and has policies against forced eviction. That makes no sense at all. Critics and organizations like Survivor International accuse the WWF of funding or supporting fortress conservation efforts that lead to human rights abuses such as violence,
Oh.
to ancestral. That's what I was going to bring up, but I'm going to mention it right now.
Yeah.
Ancestral territories and displacement. Even when WWF policies require free, prior, and informed consent
Whoop.
from local communities, the conflict arises from the implementation of protected areas in
Poaching.
anti-poaching
Poaching.
patrols, which can be based on government agreements without the necessary community consultation or consent. Despite, oh my God, despite the WWF stated principles. Oh, this is so fucking ridiculous. Like, evidence of the human
Oh,
rights
man.
abuses. Okay. Funding of patrols. Critics and organizations point to WWF founded anti-poaching patrols, also known as eco guards. Eco guards, the fucking name that
Yeah, they paid a lot of money for that name.
probably who have allegedly used violence, including beatings and torture against indigenous people like the Baka in Cameroon. Lack of consent.
Yep.
Report states that Baka were not consulted
Of
before their hands
course.
were into national parks, and the WWF has not consulted them on how these areas are managed. Forced
Yep.
eviction.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just going to keep going. This is
All right, go for it. Run it.
Forced in some cases, people have been pressured or forced to leave their lands.
Pressured or murdered.
I wouldn't put it past it. That's a nice way to put murder.
Yeah.
Pressured. Sometimes with the promise of compensation that was never fully delivered.
Bam.
Ugh.
Google AI, guys. Google AI.
Yeah. WWF stated policies and principles. Official policy. The WWF states that it recognizes the right of indigenous people from the territory. Consent. The organization's policy requires the relocation only occurs with the free, prior, and informed consent of people affected in accordance with international laws.
Yeah, buddy.
So, okay, I'm just gonna hit all my pointers after.
Yeah, absolutely.
Commitment to rights. WWF says that promoting the rights of indigenous people is a core part.
Sure is.
I can't even read this without laughing.
Isn't it difficult? Oh my God. And let me get something straight for everybody listening, right? We are not laughing at the indigenous people being forcefully removed, murdered, and ejected from their lands. Not one fucking bit, because that is fucking terrible. Like, they claim that, you know, everything that happened with the people coming here from England and whatnot, right? Like, I get it, 100%, terrible, awful. We should never do that. But this is a fucking NGO coming in telling you that, hey, these elephants are more important than you guys that have been living here for hundreds and thousands of years. Get the fuck, I love you, but get the fuck out, okay? Or you're gonna die. Like those are your options.
The thing
Unfucking
that
real.
the thing that I'm laughing at is that okay, we're prioritizing. No, nothing against animals and so forth, whatever.
Oh, right.
Well, we're prioritizing animals allegedly
So
more than human beings.
here's to your point there, right? So that actually makes more sense when you start thinking of eugenics, where they're talking about the people that can live and people that can die, right?
Yeah,
The animals are fine because they're not a part of this.
exactly.
They do have a problem with the people that are actually there living there right now, so they're going to kill them off, and then boom. Oh, it's because the rhinos need to survive, okay? So these 85 rhinos trump your 100,000 people culture, okay? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Unreal, man. Unreal. Go
Well,
ahead, sorry.
of why I'm laughing after I'm done.
Yeah, go ahead.
Commitment to rights. WWF says that promoting the rights of indigenous people is a core part of its work, and that it is committed to respecting the rights of indigenous people and local communities. Conclusion. While the WWF publicly commits to indigenous rights and has policies against forced eviction, it has been accused by many by human rights advocates of violating these principles through its actions and partnerships and certain conservation projects. These criticisms highlight the gap between the organization's stated policies and the outcomes on the ground.
It's Google AI.
Where communities report being displaced and subjected to violence by guards supporting the WWF. This is the thing that I was laughing at. That is like they have all these policies, and I'm doing some fucking big ass air quotes.
Oh, of course. So yeah, we just can't see them.
All these, unfortunately, all these people. It doesn't matter if they're indigenous or not. They're just they're human beings. They're human beings.
Well, not in the eyes of the World Wildlife Fund, but yeah.
Yeah, of course.
In our eyes, yes.
But I mean, it's like it goes to the point where it says that they have all these policies that they gotta inform, they gotta respect it. But if we look a little bit into it of what we've been reading over the videos that we've been showing, you're telling me that not even like 1% of these indigenous like communities has said no to it, and okay, you move with it. It's pretty much shown like throughout what we've shown right here that every single time they decide that they want to fucking take over a territory, they take it over no matter what.
They don't give a shit.
But you're telling me that you have so many fucking.
We're here to help, but we're here also to fuck you in the ass.
And, like,
kill you.
We respect you guys. If you guys don't want to leave, okay, that'll be fine. That's pretty much in like some way, somehow they're saying that, okay, if you guys say no, we will step back. No, motherfuckers. It seems like everywhere that you guys say this territory, we're taking over. Either you like it or not. That's why I was laughing, because it's just like, it's just absurd.
It really is.
That they just put this type of shit to back, like, just to protect themselves or to make themselves
look like they're the good ones. And also the joke of the whole thing is, when have you ever heard anything bad about the World Wildlife Fund? Never.
Well, just reading into this and
this is but like in general though, when you see the stupid panda there and you see the WWF, you're like, oh, those are good guys. Okay, I'll give them some money. No, do not give them any money.
Look at their logo. It's a cute panda.
It's a cute panda. Oh, this is good. I like these guys. These guys are nice. They're doing us a good service, Eddie. They're doing us a service. They're taking care of these areas that we need these pandas. We need these gorillas, okay? And these elephants.
another thing that I was gonna point out, like halfway, like reading through it, you
Ah.
know how a lot of indigenous people and communities, like we go back to all this shit, like well, I've never had like a direct contact with like indigenous people or like, you know what I mean, like with some,
super indigenous people that, well,
yeah,
honestly, you're not going to unless you actually
yeah,
go to
no,
these communities.
exactly.
So,
But if you research well, I want to say like that I've seen like so many examples of like how they where they locate and stuff like that. It's like grounds that are very sacred to them.
yep, and they take over the
Or this
sacred grounds for what reason?
exactly. Like it's just what type of stuff are they doing? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because like it's been like the only example I have is like represented by movies and TV series and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And like when they have like indigenous people, like they have their common grounds or like they're there for a reason.
Oh, absolutely. Here's the
You
other
know what I
thing
mean?
you're not thinking about, though, is you're not thinking about the knowledge that they have too.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah. 100%. Yes.
Because all that knowledge is generally, well, they probably have a lot written down, but they actually have a lot of it that's spoken to generation to generation to generation to generation
Exactly.
via
Yeah.
stories, right?
100%.
And
Yeah,
all
yes.
of this information about our civilization, our whole entire world, if you want to call it a world, all of this information about things out of the sky, the way the stars move, the planets, all these different things, you know, of gods of prior, all these different things that you've seen in mythology books, all gone because the WWF says, nope, it's the fucking gorillas time, okay? Get the fuck out of here. Unbelievable. But yeah, I wanted to make sure I added this in there straight from Google AI so that you can't really fight it. It's from your system, guys. So definitely, oh my god, what a fucking joke, right?
Oh yeah. It's-
Wild. It's wild.
what if they're just going like for resources and knowledge?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely. Getting rid of it.
What if
Well, I think we talked about before, it takes 2 generations to replace information. So if you get 2 generations out, you can actually reteach someone how to think. And if you wipe out
and
an entire civilization.
and the other thing too, you know, like how it's always been said, information is power.
100%.
So
Always has been,
that
always will be.
so yeah,
Yeah.
that just whoever's behind like all of this, it just comes like it seems like
The British
it,
royals.
this is just like the money and the power. They
Money
just
and
want
power, baby.
that. That's it.
Ugh.
I'm lost
Unfucking
for,
real.
I'm really lost for words.
Dude, right? You're over a 6.6. I know. We're not going to talk until we get to the end, because I know for a fact you're going to jump even higher after you get through this next topic. But yeah, you ready for this right here? And you can probably already see the title, which unfortunately gives it away. But this is the World Wildlife Fund, and you can just see the types of people that we're fucking dealing with after you watch this ad. This is an actual advertisement that they put on the television for everybody to see. Okay? Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
You might be as angry as I am after I saw it. So here we go. All right. In 2001, one of the worst tragedies in history of nature killed 2,000 plus people. That's what it said. 2005, the tsunami killed 280,000 people. That's 2 times whatever. Our planet is brutal, respected, conservative. World Wildlife Fund. Are you fucking kidding me? What a fucking horrible group of human beings. Like, are you fucking kidding me? World Wildlife Fund. Fucking panda. Fuck you, panda. Piece of shit. Oh, man. Makes me want to go to Asia and just start punching pandas.
I wonder what this like meeting of brainstorm for fucking
Well, like they give a shit about what you think. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing.
I would love to be like in a brainstorm meeting with these people that
Let's
made this
do a
app.
fucking ad on the World Trade Centers going down. Yeah, it killed 2,600 people. That tsunami killed 280,000 people. Look at how much better we are. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh. Oh.
Oh my god.
That when I saw that, I didn't think it was real. I didn't think it was real. And then sure enough, I even Google searched it and found out that, yeah, they actually even had like a controversial ad. They regret putting this out there. Fuck you. No, you don't. Bullshit. You guys don't do fucking anything without spending millions of dollars to even fucking do it.
Well, yeah. Well, especially back in those days.
Oh my god. Yeah, because this came out in like 2000, I think it was like 2006 or 2008 that they had this ad that came out. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Fuck you clowns. Oh, makes me sick. It made me sick to my stomach watching that. And then, you know what the shitty thing is? The shitty thing is, Eddie, that it fits perfectly into our next fucking topic. Because the Chapter 12 Bush-Bin-Laden connection is directly correlated to that. So it's like, oof. But I had to put that video in. I'm sorry, everybody. But it's... They actually put that out there on the fucking... They've actually advertised that. They paid money to put that out there so that you would actually spend money for them. You would give them more money. Like... Are you kidding me? If I saw that, which I almost feel like I did see that on TV once and blocked it out of my brain.
Like, just them showing that they don't give a fuck about
anything, anybody.
People pretty much, like...
Right! What we saw with them ejecting all the fucking indigenous people.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they didn't take into consideration. Like, it was a tragedy. Like, all the families and...
Oh my god!
Like, imagine like being somebody that you're...
I couldn't even imagine. Couldn't even fucking imagine.
Like a firefighter or somebody...
Right.
And seeing that shit.
Unfucking real, man.
It would be one thing, like, if it was just some random fucking person trying to be edgy. No, it's...
If it was just some internet meme or something, and you're like, oh, this guy's an asshole. Fuck this guy. Well, today they'd probably find him and put him in jail, but yeah.
It's a world organization.
World Wildlife Fund. We're here to help the pandas. Oh, my God. Oh. Makes me sick. So... Moving on to Chapter 12 here, the Bush-Bin-Laden connection, which I didn't know was as deep as it is, and we will see as we go through. So just to get it started off here, Mr. Eddie, what are you aware of the Bush-Bin-Laden connection, and did you know that there was a connection between the Bushes and the Bin Ladens?
Like I told you, the only thing that I knew was like just a theory that Bin Laden was part of the CIA, but that's pretty much it.
Okay.
But like,
so yeah, just that the Bin Laden in general was a CIA asset, right?
Yes.
Honestly, that's kind of the angle that I was coming from too. I wasn't too sure about the Bush thing, except for I had heard about like Jeb Bush in Florida, and that's how even like Bush got in elected as president and all that shit. But so let me read then, even from our gentleman, because you saw that his last thing about the World Wildlife Fund, he said that it was a 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Bush-Bin-Laden connection, and I'm going to actually read the first 2 paragraphs here. The Bushes and the Bin Ladens. One family is a straight arrow American political dynasty. The other, a Saudi construction industry clan whose scion is the most wanted terrorist on earth, the head honcho of Al-Qaeda. Never the twain shall meet, right? Wrong. Ponder this. On the very morning of the 9/11 attacks, former President of the U.S. George H.W. Bush was in a meeting at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel with Shafiq bin Laden, Osama's brother. Yes, that's right. The incumbent U.S. president's father was meeting with the 9/11's mastermind's brother. Okay, that blew my mind immediately. And then going into, yeah, I guess I'll read the last 2 paragraphs and then his alert level. Did Bush Jr. turn a blind eye to the activities of Osama bin Laden because he was the son, even if the black sheep son, of the Bush family's friends with bin Laden's? Wait, what? Let me read that again. I sounded like an asshole. Did Bush Jr. turn a blind eye to the activities of Osama bin Laden because he was the son, even if the black sheep son, of the Bush family friends, the bin Ladens? Did Bush make an error of judgment because the Bushes and the bin Ladens had a 3-decade-long tie? If he did, many Americans paid the highest price. A footnote, George W. Bush appointed Thomas Keane to chair the 9/11 investigation. Thomas Keane has had business ties with Khalid bin Mahfouz, Osama bin Laden's brother-in-law. And then his alert level. George W. Bush made errors of judgment pre-9/11 because of his family's ties to bin Laden's. Alert level 8. So he's a believer. So he actually believes. And after you watch these couple videos I got, you're going to be like, oh yeah, that motherfucker, yeah, that's real. But yeah, nuts. So I've never heard of any of that. Like that was part of the, like, I'm all into the 9/11 stuff. And I know a lot of things that I probably shouldn't know about it, but I did not know so much about this connection. Any questions you got at the moment before I think we go into the first video?
No, but let's get into it.
Okay, so this right here you're going to like. All right, here we go.
In order to truly understand what happened on September the 11th, and the close relationship between the Bushes, the Bin Ladens, and the rest of the Saudi elite, you have to go back about 25 years and south a couple of 1,000 kilometers to Houston, Texas, where in the mid-1970s George W. Bush was a young man just trying to learn the ropes in his family's 2 businesses, politics and oil. George Sr. struck it rich in oil, became a congressman, then director of the Central Intelligence Agency, where it's said he first won the friendship of the Saudi royal family by arranging CIA training for their palace guards. And George Jr. was trying to follow in his father's footsteps. A Harvard business grad, he dabbled in politics and the Texas Air National Guard. And it was about the same time that a man named Bill White, a former fighter pilot with a Harvard MBA himself, was recruited to work in Houston with someone with business and personal connections to both George Bushes. His name was Jim Bath.
This fellow, James R. Bath, needed someone to run a series of real estate companies that would be grub-staked by not only the political families but also by some foreign nationals, the Saudis. And so I came down on an interview, and met Jim.
They opened an office in downtown Houston, where Bill White became Jim Bath's partner and confidant. But White says Bath spent most of his time dealing with his foreign partners, a wealthy Saudi family, the Bin-Ladens.
He also ran a company in the same building called Bin-Laden and Associates, which Jim explained was a procurement company for the Saudis. He bought a bank for them, he bought an airport for them, he started an airline for them, among other ventures in Houston, Texas.
Now, at that point, had you ever heard the name Bin Laden?
No, I had not.
Meant nothing to you?
Meant nothing to me.
But in Saudi Arabia, the Bin Laden's name meant a great deal indeed. They owned one of the largest Saudi construction companies. They were advisors to the royal family. They were the second richest family next to the royals, with billions of dollars to invest abroad in places like Houston, where the Bush family lived. They moved into this estate in one of Houston's finest neighborhoods. A Bin Laden brother named Salam Bin Laden and a brother-in-law, Khalid bin Mahfouz. Mahfouz was also one of the Saudi royal family's bankers.
So, is it fair to say that when the Bin Laden group establishes an office in Houston, the presence of the Bush family at that point had a lot to do with it?
Oh, absolutely. I think that was essential, the essential element. I don't think any of those dollars would have come into the United States or any of those assets been purchased had not there been this quid pro quo relationship with the Bush family.
While the Bin Ladens built their ties to Texas, back home in Saudi Arabia they were making another kind of foreign investment. In 1979, the Soviet Union occupied Afghanistan. The Saudi royal family wanted to build a Muslim army known as the Mujahideen to defend Islam and force the Russians out. They turned to their trusted advisors, the Bin Ladens, who offered up a lanky 21-year-old named Osama. The man who personally chose Osama bin Laden to build that army would also become his mentor, Saudi Prince Turki Al Faisal. Last year on British television, he reminisced about the young bin Laden.
In those days, he was a young man who had committed himself to helping the Afghan Mujahideen liberate themselves from the Soviet occupation of Afghanistan. And he was doing a lot of good. He was bringing support and aid to the Mujahideen.
Meanwhile, back in Houston, the Bush family was also on the move. George Sr. was about to become vice president, and his son made a career decision too. By the late 70s, George W. Bush was setting out on his own. He established an oil exploration company that he called Arbusto, a Spanish word that loosely translated means bush. But before Arbusto could find oil, it needed to find some money, operating capital. And apparently George Bush knew where to look.
Well, Bath had told me that he had used Saudi money to fund George Bush Jr.'s foray into the energy business.
This is the Arbusto Corporation?
Yes, the Arbusto partnerships.
As Bath's partner, Bill White, says he had access to information about the financial dealings between the Bin Laden family and George W. Bush. He later obtained Bath's personal financial statements when the two had a falling out and became involved in litigation.
On schedules that show his partnership interests, he shows a personal partnership interest of $25,000 invested in Arbusto 79 and another $25,000 investment in Bush 80.
But according to White, that share was only Bath's commission for investing the Bin Laden's money with Bush.
Do you have any knowledge of how much money the Saudis put in?
Well, he told me it was in excess of, $1 million.
So there was no question in your mind whatsoever that whatever went into George W. Bush's companies from Jim Bath was money from the Saudis.
100% of it was Saudi money.
And George W. Bush would have been aware of that?
Oh, absolutely.
But that wasn't all. A few years later, another oil company in which George W. Bush was involved needed cash. It got a reported $25 million, again, thanks in part to Bush's old Houston neighbor, Khalid bin Mahfouz, Osama bin Laden's brother-in-law. And it wasn't only George Bush the son who benefited. The Bin Ladens did business with the Houston bank where George Bush Sr. was on the board.
What time is it? Victory time. This is the non-political part of this. Come on.
And businessman Bill White says whether Bush Sr. knew it or not, the Bin Ladens were also generous with him when he ran for president in 1988. allegedly finding a way around the U.S. ban on foreign campaign contributions.
My understanding from Bath was that they were making campaign contributions by taking briefcases full of cash to the law firms. They would give the cash to the lawyers, and then each of the lawyers in turn would make a $1,000 campaign contribution to Bush.
Which would presumably be against electoral law in the U.S.
Well, it is against the law, but it's obviously covered by virtue of the attorneys making the contributions.
And when George Bush Sr. became president, as with George W. more than a decade later, the Saudis occupied a special place at the White House. The Oval Office always open to one man, Saudi Arabia's ambassador, Prince Bandar.
He's got instant access. He calls them up, says, I'm coming over. He's got instant access to the CIA, anybody he wants. He can summon people. He can call anybody up at home at any time, which most ambassadors in Washington cannot do.
Robert Baer served with the CIA for 21 years and spent much of that time in the Middle East.
What is the George W. Bush calls Bandar? Bandar Bush?
Bandar Bush, yeah, he calls him Bandar Bush. You know, that's fine. Bandar's a great ambassador. It works great until you turn a blind eye, until you believe everything Bandar says.
Baer believes that Bandar's position is symptomatic of the blind self-interest on both sides. That's the Saudi-American relationship's fatal flaw. It's a lesson George W. Bush and his administration wouldn't learn until it was much too late.
Had Saudi Arabia been acting as one might expect a true ally and friend to act, could they have told the U.S. all they needed to know about the real threat posed by Bin-Laden?
They knew everything. They were the source of fundings that went to buy arms, to buy bombs through their charities. And those charities in Saudi Arabia are all controlled by the government to some extent.
It was 1991. The Gulf War was over. American troops had defended Saudi oil fields against Saddam Hussein. Now the U.S. could continue to enjoy the economic security which came with all that Saudi oil. It was essentially the same deal George W. Bush himself made when he did business with the Bin Ladens in Houston. One side got a powerful partner, the other, oil and money. Former CIA agent Robert Baer.
The United States depends upon Saudi Arabia for its oil production. Saudi Arabia also recycles all the money it makes off oil in the United States and puts trillions of dollars in our banks. It pays for presidential libraries, anything you can imagine.
And the Clinton White House wasn't immune to Saudi charm either. It was difficult not to give the benefit of the doubt to the biggest buyer of American military hardware with the deepest pockets in the stock market, not to mention the world's largest oil reserves. Which is why after George Bush Sr. left office and became a senior advisor to the powerful international investment firm, the Carlyle Group, he paid a number of visits on their behalf to his good friends, the Saudi royal family and the Bin Ladens.
A very nice reunion with friends. I'm very pleased.
They soon became Carlyle clients. Incredibly, on September 11th, Bush and the head of the Bin Laden family would be at the same Carlyle Group meeting in Washington, just a few miles from where Osama bin Laden's hijackers would attack the Pentagon.
Just a coincidence? Yeah, right. So, the fuck? Right?
The fact that there's video of this.
Right? Like, and you know, I'm almost surprised because I found this on YouTube of all things too. I was like surprised at that because they started bringing stuff back on YouTube. I'm kind of glad we're doing this now. If we'd done this a couple of years ago, we probably wouldn't have been able to find anything. Oh man, it's so weird, right? They definitely have a connection. Like, they definitely have a connection. And let's not forget also who was the head of the CIA for years too. And that was the Bush. That was H. Bush though, not W. Bush. W. Bush.
I love the name of their company.
Yeah, Arbusto.
Let's try to make it discreet.
That's it. Absolutely. Oh man, it's fucking wild. Fucking wild. Um, so going to the next thing, this is the question that you and I both had, and we were told yes, he is a CIA asset, but Google AI says he's not. Okay, so I'm gonna read the left one. You're gonna read the right one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So was Osama bin Laden a CIA asset? That was the question to Google AI. I said no. Osama bin Laden was not a CIA asset. This is a myth. And there's no evidence of direct financial or operational relationship between the CIA and bin Laden himself. While the CIA supported the Afghan Mujahideen against the Soviet Union, that support was not directed at the Arab volunteers who came to fight alongside them, including bin Laden's network. Bin Laden informally cooperated with other groups that had indirect ties to the CIA, but he was never on the agency's payroll or on their side. BCCI probably paid him. CIA funding went to the Mujahideen, not Arab volunteers. Okay, guys? Like, settle down. The CIA provided funding and support to the Afghan Mujahideen, but it did not provide financial support to the Afghan Arabs who joined the fight, which included the bin Laden's followers. Bin Laden had indirect connections. Bin Laden did have connections to groups and individuals that received CIA funding, such as the commander Halaluddin, I think that's right, Hakim, I don't know, who received cash payments from CIA agents and allowed Bin Laden to train volunteers in his territory. No evidence of direct contact. According to former CIA officials and analyses of CIA archives, there is no record of direct contact between CIA officers and bin Laden or anyone in his inner circle during the 1980s. Okay? It's funny that they said the 1980s. Bin Laden's network was a separate entity. Bin Laden's network of Arab fighters operated as its own entity and was not a direct asset of employee of the CIA.
No, the CIA did not. The CIA fund Osama bin Laden. No, the CIA did not fund Osama bin Laden directly, but it did fund and arm the
Mujahideen.
fighters.
Mujahideen.
Some whom were led by individuals with whom bin Laden had connections. According to sources like Wikipedia, some of the CIA supported Mujahideen commanders were also allies of bin Laden. The idea that the CIA directly supported bin Laden is a common myth, and there is no evidence of direct funding or training of him or his group by the U.S. during the 1980s.
Funny,
No direct
this is the
funding.
1980s again.
Sorry. There is no evidence that the CIA directly funded or trained Osama bin Laden or his Al-Qaeda network. Indirect connections. The CIA convert support of the Mujahideen against the Soviets meant that it was indirectly providing resources to many fighters, including these who later become bin Laden's allies. All allies received CIA funding. Some of bin Laden's closest allies in the 1980s, such as Jalaluddin,
yeah, good luck.
or something, received direct cash payments from CIA agents. Ghani's network played a key role in the formation and growth of Al-Qaeda. Common myth. The claim that the CIA backed bin Laden is considered a myth by many analysts and reporters.
So, what's funny right there is like they keep bringing in the 1980s, right? Like they keep bringing up the 1980s when they were literally doing the funding to the Mujahideen in the 1980s. It's like, okay, like we get it. And then it's like the common myth, the claim that CIA-backed Bin Laden is considered a myth by many analysts and reporters. It's like, fuck you. We know. We know it's real. You don't have to lie to us. Fucking, but it right there though, and it says allies received CIA funding. Some of Bin Laden's closest allies in the 1980s, such as whatever his name is, received direct cash payments from CIA agents. Haqqani's, I think that's what it is. Haqqani's network played a key role in the formation and growth of Al-Qaeda. Goodness. Bin Laden family lived next to Bush household in Texas. Because I always like to ask questions about, what video whatever we just watched. While it is not true that the Bin Laden family lived next to the Bush family in Texas, the two families did have business connections. Osama bin Laden had been disowned by his family in 1994, and his relatives did not live with him. Fucking liars. Bush and Bin Laden family business connections. Arbusto. There you go. Energy. In 1978, George W. Bush founded the Texas oil company Arbusto Energy. One of the investors was Salem bin Laden, Osama's older brother. The Carlyle Group. Following his presidency, George H.W. Bush, George W.'s father, served as the senior advisor to the Carlyle Group, a private equity firm with investments in defense. Multiple members of the Bin Laden family were investors in the firm. And let's not forget about, I'm pretty sure it was Prescott Bush, who was the president of the BCCI, I'm pretty sure, no, he was the president of some other bank in America that worked with BCCI, and he actually got in trouble, but they never caught him on anything. So that was BCCI. You remember how bad they are. Controversy after the 9/11 attacks. The relationship between the two families drew intense scrutiny and criticism. George H.W. Bush later resigned from his position at Carlyle. He's like, oh shit, they're figuring it out. I better get out of here with my money before they put me in jail. Where the Bush and Bin Laden families lived. Osama bin Laden for years. Osama bin Laden hid in Afghanistan, Pakistan. He was killed in a raid on his compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan in 2011. Bin Laden family. Other members of the Bin Laden family have led separate lives from Osama after the 9/11 attacks. Some family members living in the U.S. fled the country, fearing for their safety. I wonder why. Today, many members of the Bin Laden family live in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and other parts of the world. George W. Bush, after his presidency, George W. Bush moved to a residence in the Preston Hollow neighborhood of Dallas, Texas. He and Laura Bush also own a ranch near Crawford, Texas, known as Prairie Chapel Ranch. I don't know if that means anything, but maybe it does to somebody. Then we go into the next video. Any questions you got before we start it?
No.
All right, let's roll it. You like this one too. I already thumbs up this one too.
The following 14 points are objective pieces of factual information and relevant questions concerning events which took place before 9/11 that have been glossed over, misrepresented, or ignored by the government and media. Point number 1. In 1979, the CIA initiated a massive program of covert military aid to indigenous Islamic tribes in Afghanistan and Islamic volunteers from other nations who were in opposition to the Russian military invasion of that country.
Mujahideen.
The Russians had formed a coalition with several Afghani tribes from the north of that country, which are referred to as the Northern Alliance. The tribes supported by the CIA were called the Mujahideen by the Western press.
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan in 1986 euphemistically referred to the Mujahideen as the freedom fighters of Central Asia. Elements within the Mujahideen later branched off to become Al-Qaeda, again with full CIA support and funding. Point 2. The leader of al-Qaeda is a Saudi Arabian who had been educated in Europe, whose name is Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden's father was Sheikh Mohammed bin Laden, who founded and built Bin Laden Brothers Construction Company. Later, this company was renamed the Saudi Bin Laden Group. It should also be noted that from the early 1980s, Osama bin Laden was a CIA asset whose Western cover name was Tim Osman.
Yeah, you
Point
fucking
3.
AI, Google
The
AI.
Bin Laden family is one of the wealthiest in Saudi Arabia and has been instrumental in building dozens of American military bases in the Middle East. The Bin Laden family is closely connected with the ruling sheiks of Saudi Arabia and has strong political and personal connections around the world. Point 4. The Bin Laden family and the Bush families have been friends and business partners for many years. In 1977, George Bush Jr. started Arbusto Energy Company in Midland, Texas. One of his first and major investors was Salim bin Laden, who at that time had become the president of the Saudi bin Laden Group. Salim happened to be the older brother of Osama bin Laden. Another interesting connection is Sheikh Khalid bin Mahfouz. Mahfouz is one of the richest men in the world and was also a major investor in Arbusto Energy Company. Further, he was operational director of the corrupt BCCI between 1986 and 1990.
All connected,
According to
Eddie.
CIA Director James Woolsey in testimony to the U.S. Senate in 1998, Mahfouz was a major contributor to Osama and al-Qaeda. Oh, one more little detail. Mahfouz's sister is Osama bin Laden's wife. It's like one big happy family. Point 5. Al-Qaeda was involved in the bombing of the United States embassies, which killed 35 Americans and 150 locals in 1992. Al-Qaeda was also partially responsible for the suicide bombing of the USS Cole, which killed 25 American sailors in 1996. Point 6. Both Yemen and Sudan offered to extradite Osama bin Laden after the bombings of the embassies and the USS Cole. However, Secretary of State Madeleine Albright, who was appointed by Bill Clinton, refused to take bin Laden. Point 7. John O'Neill was a deputy director of the FBI and resigned his post in disgust because of interference from both the Clinton and Bush administrations in the investigation of al-Qaeda. He allegedly said this:
"The main obstacles to investigate Islamic terrorism were U.S. oil corporate interest."
Mr. O'Neill had the misfortune to be hired as the director of security at the World Trade Center starting on 9/11/01. He was killed on that day in the World Trade Center bombing. Point 8. European newspapers have widely reported that Osama bin Laden was sick with a kidney malfunction and went to an American hospital in Dubai in January of 2001. While there, he met with the CIA's section chief. These accusations are extremely serious because this is after the bombings of both the American embassies and the USS Cole that were tied to bin Laden. Point 9. Intelligent people from around the world laugh at the mere idea that bin Laden could orchestrate the complex hijackings of 4 commercial airliners that took off from 3 different airports from a cave in the mountains of Afghanistan, 12,000 miles away. Point 10. In October of 1993, there was a car bombing of the World Trade Center. The bombing was not successful in bringing the building down because the car was parked too far away from the interior columns. Unfortunately, 34 people were killed. The bomber was a 43-year-old Egyptian, Imad Salim. According to stories from the New York Times, Salim was paid $1 million and was trained by the FBI to perform this reprehensible act. Salim figured out that he was being set up to be the patsy and taped John Antisev. Antisev, a top American FBI agent, told Salim to proceed with the bombing. The media is strangely quiet about this act of treason from within. This is incredible. Few people are aware that there was an attempt to blow up the Alfred P. Murrah building in Oklahoma City in 1985, 10 years before the last incident. The New American magazine has done a wonderful job of investigating and reporting about this group that initially tried to blow up the building and who live in Elohim City, Oklahoma. Many independent investigators believe this same rogue group was involved in the 1995 bombing and may have had support from elements within the FBI. It is said that
a thief always returns to the scene of the crime.
Could it be that units within the government have come back to finish their unfinished work at the World Trade Center, as it appears they did in Oklahoma City? Point 11. The United States government spends a minimum of $40 billion of our tax money a year on the FBI, CIA, and NSA. These agencies were responsible for helping start and finance Al-Qaeda and have been closely monitoring the Taliban, Bin-Laden, and Al-Qaeda for the past decade. Yet all of these agencies, with all their money and all their technology, flatly deny they had prior knowledge that there would be such an attack. Hogwash. After the assault, these agencies were actually rewarded with significant increases in funding and were lauded by the administration and the press. This is sick stuff. Point 12. In the week before 9/11, there was an increase of 1,200% in trading activity of orders to go short on the stocks of American Airlines and United Airlines, as reported by the Chicago Securities Exchange. An investor goes short when he expects the stock to decrease in value. Tens of millions of dollars were made by those who appear to have had forewarning of this event. According to the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and the London Independent, a high percentage of this activity came from one investment firm, Deutsche Bank and A.B. Brown. The principal manager of this firm until 1998 is now the director of the CIA. There has still been no official investigation. Point 13. According to Reuters News Service, 2 of the terrorists went to a topless bar a few nights before the attack. While at the bar, they were supposedly obnoxious, had lots of drinks, and each spent over $200 for lap dances. The story goes on to say they talked about how America was going to suffer and conveniently left business cards. Oh, one more thing. Being faithful Muslims, they also left a Holy Koran. Sure. The spin doctors must have been drunk when they came up with this story. They want us to believe fundamental Muslims who are going to give their lives for Allah would go to a strip bar, get drunk, which is against Islamic law, tell the world what they're going to do, and then leave their business cards and a Quran. The only thing more amazing than this story is that most Americans seem to believe it. Point 14. On the day of the attack, a couple in Jersey City, New Jersey, reported that they saw a group of men on top of an adjoining building filming the first jet hit the North Tower and cheering. They assumed that these men were Arab terrorists and called the police. The police caught these men, but they were not Arabs. They were Israelis, here in the United States without legal permits. They worked for a moving company that, according to Forward Magazine, a local Jewish publication, has possible ties with the Mossad. Who were these men who had prior knowledge? Why was this story suppressed? And why did our government allow them to return to Israel?
These are them.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad. The fact of the matter is, we are coming from a country that experiences terror daily. Our purpose was to document the event. The fact of the matter is, we are coming from a country that experiences terror daily. Our purpose was to document the event.
The 5
Yeah,
Israelis were detained for 10 weeks and finally deported on immigration violations after the FBI cleared them of any involvement in 9/11. There are certainly real questions that remain, but there are also real dangers in jumping to conclusions about who to blame.
So that just brings further questions, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Dude, like, that guy gave it away kind of on his interview there where he said, we were there just to document the event. Wait, that means you had prior knowledge of the event then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Israel's on board. What the fuck?
Pretty much.
Oh, man. That's, this is a perfect backdrop for my Charlie, it's all connected type gif that I'm going to have to find. Oh, man. Dude. Like, hearing those bullet points, like, all those 14 points is like, oh, yeah. No, there really isn't any question. There's something to it. There's definitely something to it. When we get to the last video, you can be like, oh, yeah. Because these are things that I've told you about where you're like, meh, like push it off kind of thing. When you hear this next video, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, no, that's totally on board. But any questions we got at the moment before we go into the next thing, because we are going to read next.
No, we're good.
All right, let's read it up. You want left or right?
I'll do right.
Oh, I see. Okay. Did CIA fund Al-Qaeda? No! The CIA did not directly fund Al-Qaeda. See, they're nice. Like, you see all these things, not directly. Not directly. Like, that's the thing everyone's got to pay attention to. Because they're going to lie to you directly to your face by telling you that they did not directly fund Al-Qaeda. But it did fund the Mujahideen in Afghanistan, some of whom later became part of Al-Qaeda. Additionally, a separate and later CIA program in Syria inadvertently led to its funding and weapons, ending up with Al-Qaeda's affiliated Nusra Front. Oh my God, what happened? Our money and weapons all went here? Oh no, why? 1980 Soviet-Afghan War. CIA support for the Mujahideen during the Soviet-Afghan War. The CIA provided funding and weapons to the Afghan Mujahideen to fight the Soviet-backed government. Yes, they did. Controversial legacy. Many of these Mujahideen later formed the basis of the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. However, there is no evidence that the CIA directly supported Osama bin Laden or Al-Qaeda during this time. Indirect connections. Some individuals who later became prominent in Al-Qaeda, like that's the guy. Haqqani, were funded by the CIA indirectly through their connections. Wait, you said you directly funded that guy. Well, whatever. Were funded by the CIA indirectly through their connections to specific Mujahideen commanders. But this was not direct support, see, to Bin Laden's group. Unreal.
So, Syria Civil War. Timber Sycamore Program. In the 2010s, the CIA ran a program called Timber Sycamore to arm and train Syrian rebels to fight the Assad government. Funds and weapons ended up in extremist groups. The weapons and funding from the program eventually ended up in the hands of extremist groups, including Al-Qaeda affiliate the Nusra Front.
Sure. Nusra.
Controlling the fighters, the CIA and the other U.S. officials were concerned about the outcome, as they lost control over the trained fighters and the weapons supplied.
Subsequent findings.
Subsequent findings.
You're good.
Money to Afghan government in 2010. A separate issue emerged where a fund the CIA had provided to the Afghan government ended up partly in Al Qaeda's hands. Al Qaeda's reliance on donations. At the time, Al Qaeda primarily relied on donations and had a much lower annual budget than previously assumed, which is why even the smallest amount of money could have a significant impact.
So, reading all that, does it not bring you back to the BCCI shit that we were talking about a couple episodes ago? Where it's like, you know that they got slush funds in the BCCI to pay all these different groups to go do all these weird things, right?
Yep.
Like, I guarantee you. Like, and how many other banks haven't been caught yet doing this kinds of shit? Unfucking real. You be the left, I'll be the right.
Osama bin Laden started Al Qaeda in the 1980s as a board-based militant Islamic organization. It grew out of experiences during the Soviet-Afghan War, evolving from a support network of foreign fighters into a global
jihadist, yeah,
group with anti-Western aims. The anti-Soviet war in Afghanistan, Mujahideen Support Network. In 1979, the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan, galvanizing many Muslims to join the anti-Soviet resistance known as the Mujahideen. Bin Laden, as his mentor,
Abdullah Azam,
traveled to
Peshawar,
Pakistan to organize support for the war effort. Recruitment Center. In 1994, they co-founded the
Maktab al-Qidamat,
MAK, or Services Bureau, to recruit and finance foreign Muslims known as Afghan Arabs to fight in Afghanistan. The MAC set up recruitment offices around the world, including in the U.S. states.
Question.
Logistical base. Through MAC, Bin Laden developed an extensive network of followers and agents, and he used his considerable heritage to provide funding and material support for the insurgents.
The founding of Al-Qaeda, formal establishment in 1988 as the Soviet withdrawal from Afghanistan drew near, Bin Laden broke away from MAC and founded a new organization called Al-Qaeda, meaning the base. While MAC, focused on logistical support, Al-Qaeda was established as a multinational Muslim alliance committee committed to jihad through violence. Shift in focus. The group's mission shifted from fighting the Soviets to a broader, more aggressive and global agenda. Bin Laden and other Al-Qaeda leaders were veterans of the Soviet-Afghan War, which gave them the connections and training needed for their new group. Ha 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 ha. Key right there. Connections and training needed for their new group. Anti-Western expansion. That's Google AI. Anti-Western expansion. Growing anti-Americanism, which doesn't surprise me. After returning to Saudi Arabia in 1989, Bin Laden's hostility towards the United States escalated, which is probably bullshit because him and the Bushes were hanging out. He was incensed by the Saudi government's decision to allow U.S. and the coalition troops to be stationed in the country during the 1990 Iraq invasion of Kuwait. He viewed the presence of non-Muslim troops near Islam's holiest sites as a sacrilege. Expansion in Sudan. After his relationship with the Saudi royal family soured him, Bin-Laden was forced into exile. In the early 1990s, he moved to Sudan, where he focused on expanding al-Qaeda's network and planning attacks against Western targets. Declaration of war in 1996. After returning to Afghanistan, Bin-Laden issued a formal declaration of war against the United States. He issued a subsequent fatwa in 1998, calling for Muslims to kill Americans wherever, anywhere in the world. Wild. Absolutely wild. Any questions before we go on the last video? This is the last one.
No.
Okay. So this here is the... This is actually really good. This is after, of course, 9/11 happened. This is discussions in a group, and the whole video is great. I do recommend everybody watch it. Again, all of our videos will be in the comment section and time-stamped, so that way everybody can skip around if they'd like. But no, this one's actually really good, and it's people that did a little bit of investigation, because it really only takes a little bit of investigation to find out what the hell happened. So, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go.
America, I argue in my latest book, has become dominated by a war machine in Washington, a war machine that has been building incrementally since Eisenhower warned us about it in 1961.
We now stand 10 years past the midpoint of a century that has witnessed 4 major wars among great nations. 3 of these involved our own country. We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions.
This is against the Constitution.
Now, this conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
That's right.
The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes.
This tragic event of 9/11 was used as a pretext and justification to wage war on an impoverished country in Central Asia. Anybody who has a minimal understanding of military planning will know that you don't plan a large-scale theater war in a matter of 4 weeks.
That's
it takes
true.
several months and sometimes years to prepare a war of that size. So that the war on Afghanistan was in the pipeline well before 9/11.
You don't think about
if
that. If
Al-Qaeda is
totally
behind
true.
these attacks, who is behind Al-Qaeda? And I knew from the research I'd conducted on Yugoslavia in particular, but going back to the Soviet-Afghan war, that Al-Qaeda was an intelligence asset of the CIA, and this was amply recognized in numerous documents. And the response of the U.S. intelligence community was, yeah, we supported him, but he went against us.
Yeah,
Now,
right.
we were the sponsors of Al-Qaeda. It was for a good cause. It was to fight the communists in the Soviet-Afghan war, and we sent in the Mujahideen. We trained them in these CIA camps in Afghanistan and Pakistan. We set up the religious schools, the madrasas.
There he is in
We
89.
then contracted with our friends in Saudi Arabia to send in Wahhabi missions into Afghanistan to train these people.
The concept of the jihad was born as a consequence of the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan.
And who gave them the arms, the aid, and the financial support to fight against the Soviets?
A lot of countries did, because if the Soviets had won, it would have been even worse, unless you believe that the Soviets should have been assisted or permitted to win.
Right.
We don't deny for a
There's
minute
a good question.
that we helped the Mujahideen resist the Soviets in Afghanistan. But it was the invasion of Afghanistan that precipitated the consequences which we see in that part of the world to this day.
Many people, including some of your own colleagues, claim that Dr. Brzezinski is the one who was mainly responsible for the start of the Afghan jihad and as a consequence the rise of the Islamic fundamentalist movement.
There are a lot of people in the world who interpret everything that happens in the most dramatically conspiratorial terms.
Bin Laden's whereabouts have always been known. Why? Because Al-Qaeda is a CIA intelligence asset and has always been an intelligence asset and continues to be an intelligence asset. We see Al-Qaeda in Iraq.
ISIS too.
Then we see Al-Qaeda in Yemen, Al-Qaeda in Africa. We had subsidiaries of Al-Qaeda virtually everywhere, you know. And wherever the United States needed to intervene militarily, they used the pretext of Al-Qaeda in Yemen or Somalia or wherever, under different names, corroborated by media reports, etc. And in all cases, I can assure you, these are instruments of US intelligence or MI6 or Mossad. And there's a collaboration between them.
There is.
9/11 has unleashed a roadmap of war and destruction. We are at the crossroads of the most serious crisis in modern history. I think that's not an understatement. The war on terrorism is part of that process because it gives a justification to wage war on humanitarian grounds.
Yep.
So that you wage the war not against countries, but against what they called non-state entities. All this has permeated the consciousness of millions of people.
Yeah, very
It's created an atmosphere of fear and intimidation, which was then coupled with the coded alert, the color-coded alerts, and Homeland Security, and so on. It was a pretext to wage a war without borders, which in essence is a war of conquest, and it was also a pretext to implement far-reaching changes at home through the Patriot legislation, through national security, protection of borders, and so on and so forth. If the war on terrorism is no longer accepted and doesn't have its legitimacy, the whole construct, military doctrine, collapses like a deck of cards. And that's why 9/11 truth is so important.
Thinking about elite political crime and recognizing that we don't classify it and study it. When I looked at the literature in political science on Watergate, Iran-Contra, crimes like that, they treated them as exceptions, as something that rarely happened, and when they did, the elites were just misbehaving.
You like this part, Eddie.
But the more I looked into it, I realized, well, these are fairly common events. They're not often investigated, but they're pretty well known, and they're fairly common. And so I started studying this kind of criminality as a type of crime, like white-collar crime or hate crime, and I classified it, and I began collecting examples of it, and 9/11 fit the pattern. The investigation did not include any consideration of controlled demolition. Nobody looked in the debris for explosives or incendiaries.
No, that's still burning.
That to me indicated what's called guilty knowledge in criminology, that somebody didn't look because they knew that there would be something to find. One of the things I started studying was the Nuremberg war crimes trials, because there was an example of political crimes being prosecuted. And in the war crimes trials, the Nazis were accused of setting the Reichstag on fire. The main evidence was that immediately there were laws passed. They had a list already the night when the Reichstag was on fire. They had a list of the people they wanted arrested. And this was considered to be proof. And I thought, well, you know, it's the same way with 9/11. There was an agenda already there, and it was rolled out immediately after the events, which suggests that there was foreknowledge and complicity to provide a pretext for these wars in the Middle East.
The idea of conspiracy being an irrational belief, the idea of conspiracy is a sound legal concept. We use it all the time. We prosecute gangsters in the United States for conspiring. Conspiracies happen. We know that. Iran-Contra, Watergate. So how can you have a concept that dismisses all conspiracies as improbable or impossible? It also doesn't make any sense. It's an unsubstantiated theory of its own. When people dismiss conspiracy theories, what they're doing is embracing a coincidence theory.
they're assuming that all these things, yeah, they didn't catch the hijackers getting on the planes, and yeah, there was a group of elites who said we needed to have a new Pearl Harbor. And yeah, there were all these war games going on at the time. And yeah, the buildings fell. All coincidental. All coincidences. So what's going on is you have an unsubstantiated theory that's being smuggled in with this pejorative term. But it is the opposite of the way we think about most crimes. If there was a man who married a wealthy woman and the woman died of a freak accident, and then he married another wealthy woman, and she died of a freak accident, we would say, this guy's killing his wives.
Right.
We would certainly suspect that. We would interrogate him. We want to know, where were you when she died from the freak accident? It would be our automatic response. The TV shows on crime use this constantly. They will look for patterns in crimes to identify the suspect. It's just a normal thing. It's criminology 101. And yet when we look at elite political crimes, we see them one at a time. Even when there are obvious connections, like the Kennedy assassinations or the 2000 and 2004 elections.
Bammo.
Conspiracy theory is generally fairly widely accepted. If you do public opinion polls and ask people do they believe the official account of the assassination of President Kennedy, overwhelmingly people do not. They believe that there was some kind of conspiracy. The Kennedy assassination was reinvestigated in 1975. The Congress concluded there was a conspiracy, but they didn't know who. It was never prosecuted. The CIA and the intelligence agencies are actively shaping how we perceive events. And we know this because the conspiracy theory concept, there was a propaganda program initiated by the CIA to get people to use that term as a counter to critics of the Warren Commission.
I'm just a patsy. I first understood conspiracy theory when they were talking about the Kennedy assassination, and it's the choice between, was it a lone gunman or was it a conspiracy? And so that's where the term comes from. It doesn't even apply here. The official story is a conspiracy theory in a literal sense, that you have this conspiracy of a bunch of people to make this thing happen. What I'm basically saying, and what most of the people in the truth movement are saying, is yes, there was a conspiracy, but it wasn't a bunch of Arabs that got together and did this. It's basically a bunch of rich, powerful guys in white shirts and ties and suits and so forth, that are the ones that we should be looking at.
Nailed it.
There's all the signs that the people who were behind this had to have had connections with military to have access even to the kinds of materials used to bring the buildings down. They had to have access to the buildings to be able to plan it. They had to have access to all the means they have to cover this up. So there's lots of signs that there are people working at various levels in a coordinated manner to make this event happen.
It's very hard to convince people that American public officials would do these kinds of things. People just say, well, they wouldn't go along with it, and if they did, they couldn't organize it. It's too complicated. They couldn't organize an action like that and not have it detected. And if they could, somebody would talk and it would get out and we'd know about it. Americans know you can keep secrets. We kept the Manhattan Project secret.
Yep.
That had 100,000 people working on it. They built 3 cities from scratch. One was the 5th largest city in Tennessee. This word never got out. Get this, when Truman became president, he was not told about the Manhattan Project until he had been in office for over a week. So we can keep secrets. We kept secret our decoding of the Japanese and German secret codes. That was kept secret all through the war. The idea that you can't keep secrets among large groups of people is just mistaken. We're looking at the events of 9/11, but we tend to not think of 9/11 as connected to the anthrax letter attacks. I call this incident-specific myopia. So it's a nearsightedness. I think of it as we're like victims. We're like abuse victims. These shocking events are so overwhelming, they loom large in our minds. in our perceptions, and we can't see them as if we were above and looking at a bunch of them. We can only just see the one and then see the other.
And that is perfect right there, because think about it. And this is the perfect slide to end here on, and then we go to the closing. But McCarthyism, 1952, JFK assassination, 1963, Oswald assassination, 1963, because he assassinated JFK. Gulf of Tonkin, which was a fucking false flag everyone should look into, 1964. RFK assassination, 1968. 1968 October surprise. I don't know exactly what that is. Ellsberg burglary. I don't know what that is either. 1971. Wallace assassination, 1972. Watergate, 1972. Wow, I wonder if those are connected. Reagan assassination attempt in 1981. October surprise, 1980. Iran-Contra, 1984. That is a real thing that happened. That was weird. 2000 presidential election where they put in George Bush. That was a mistake. That was a fucking... Then 2004, same thing. Where I remember hearing about that, where it was all based on Florida. It was. Do you remember that at all? The George Bush getting elected scandal thing?
No.
Okay, so I remember, I don't know if it was 2000 2004, whichever one it was, or maybe it was both, but it was like, it was all down to Florida. Florida was the only way that this president was going to get elected. It was like a dead heat, right? And then you find out that the governor of Florida is Jeb Bush, which is the brother of George Bush. And he won. It's like, oh, okay, no shit. 9/11, which actually I just looked in the book. It's like page 394, so we got a ways to go. But we are going to go over 9/11, and I am super excited about doing that one, because I'm going to have so many fucking videos for everybody to watch. Anthrax letter of 2001. That was a fucking scam in itself, where he did not even have, that was Jerome Powell, I believe, who did not even have that, but he was in Congress saying that he got a letter from that had anthrax in it. Wellstone assassination, I don't know what that is. Iraq-gate, I don't know what that is, unless that's when we went into Iraq and we destroyed the first thing we did when we got into Iraq. So once we went to Afghanistan, then we went to Iraq. After we went into Iraq, we actually went in and destroyed the museums. We went into the museums. We broke down into because they had like walled off all the like secret stuff. Broke all that in, took all their secret information, and then the election thing, and then the bogus terror alerts, which is probably bullshit. But yeah, any questions on that video that we just saw, Mr. Eddie? It kind of put it all kind of somewhat together for you, right?
Yeah.
Right? Oh.
Like, yeah. But that's all I can pretty much say.
Yeah, that's all I say too. So, lastly, I want to thank you all very much for watching. Eddie, do you want to thank the beautiful people for watching?
Of course. Thank you for riding along this long episode, I guess.
It was kind of long, boy. Yeah, I think we've been doing this for a little while now.
It was an interesting one. Very interesting. And I was just going to say, like, in my rating, because
Eddie's threat level was a 6.6, everybody.
So, and I think I should slow down.
I was going to say you're probably at a 7.4 by now, son. After both of those topics, oh my God.
I think the first one more than the second one.
We can put you to 100 if you want.
I think we're going to have to go to like a scale of like 100, you know?
We're going to have to bring you at least beyond that because, dude, we are on chapter 11 and 12, and you have already jumped like 6 to 7 points. Like, you've already jumped hard.
I think I came in hot in the first.
Well, I
like,
want to say, and I'll go back and I'll watch the first episode, but I'm pretty sure you were at like a 2 or something, or like a 2.5 or something to start with.
But like today was a good one.
This is great. Oh my God. Well, not great because everybody's, people have died left and right because of these fucking criminals that are in charge of us all. But oh my God, like
it was just a lot. That's all I can say,
dude. So what? So
yeah.
here's the other thing that I didn't even really I forgot to comment on when we were going through it. The 1,200% shorts on United and American Airlines before the fucking attack happened on 9/11. Do you remember that? What the fuck?
No, like
it blocked it all out because it's too much to absorb, right?
Yeah, like I was just, it's just like like I just went through a lot today, pretty much. to make the long story short, it was just like too much.
Like, oh my God, this honestly, these two. That's why I had to put these two together, though. Well, one thing, FYI, we have to start doing like 2 together, otherwise we're never getting through this book. Because there's too many subjects that this guy talks about for a page and a half, and we just won't make it. We'll be doing this for fucking 20 years if we don't. Just start doing like 2 at a time. But yeah, so a couple big things coming up. I am looking forward to them. So that we're gonna try to do 2 again on the next one, unless I get like that Martin Bormann one. Like I found a bunch of shit where we should just sit and watch. So hopefully, I mean honestly, to tell you the truth, on all of these topics that we go through, I could show you videos all day, and we could just sit and watch these videos all day per topic, which may come up, and I apologize if that's the case. We'll try to do a twofer every time, like this one, but if we only do a one-fer, sorry, but it's necessary. And honestly,
it just depends on the topic, pretty much. I think so.
Absolutely.
Like this one was great because like at the end of the last one,
it segued perfect, right? Those fucking scumbags of the World Wildlife Federation or Wildlife Fund.
It went together perfectly, pretty much.
It really did. It really did.
One topic, literally correlated with the next one, pretty much.
Because it's all connected, Eddie.
It's all connected. That was a phrase of this episode.
Phrase of the day, man. It's all connected. And honestly, I cannot say it's not. Like it is. It is all connected. And the only issue is that if we were sitting there at Bohemian Grove or what's the other one? Bilderberg Group, we would have already been aware of all these things, all connected together. But no, we're not. We're not in the billionaire club, so we're not invited to these groups.
Of course not.
Looking at our background here, though, we probably got a bunch of Sikhs that probably are invited to those groups.
Most likely.
Yeah, they probably are. It's funny actually because your hat doesn't have American colors.
No.
I don't know what happened here.
And I got sunburned. That's what
you do have sunburn. Notice I do too. Because we've been staring up in the sun because we're so confused with what's going on. We have to just look at the sun.
Yeah.
The sun will bring light to us, and maybe we'll understand what the fuck's going on. Oh my God! But yeah, what a weird couple of things, right? Like the World Wildlife Fund. It's a terrible thing. Do not give any money. If you see anybody saying, hey, I'm taking donations for the World Wildlife Fund, know that they have enough. You do not have to give them money. And then if anybody tells you that 9/11 didn't have any questions about it, and who knows what's going to happen on YouTube because it just sang the words 9/11. But regardless, we're on Rumble too. So anybody saying that 9/11 didn't have any questions, so yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. It did. It had a lot of questions. A lot of questions and things that we should probably look into. Oh, man. So, okay. So, all right. Sorry. I cut you off on what you were doing. You were a 6.6 before. You said you want to, like, tail it back, but we're going to give you more numbers. So, whatever you want to go to, man. Go to wherever you want to go. We'll go to, and we'll adjust. We'll give you 8,500 if you want to go all the way there by the time we're done.
Like, today was good, but I'm also thinking, like, what else?
Dude, there's a lot of shit you're going to learn.
I think, like, a fair 0.5, go up 0.5 to, like, that'll make
7.1?
7%. Yeah.
All right.
Like you
sure you don't want to go 7.4?
Nah.
It's going to be too high, right? Because you'll be a 10,
yeah.
You'll be a 10.11 before you know it.
I got to be more considerate.
This is two, like, major
That's
subjects.
the thing, like, you know what I mean? That's the whole point. Like, I just keep seeing more things and more things that I didn't think I was gonna.
Yeah, right. You honestly had no idea what you were getting into. I think that's probably what the case was. Telling you. So when you get past the 10.11, where do we go to from there? That's the real question.
I don't know.
We're gonna have to go to 50 or something. 100. We're gonna get Eddie to an 85.5 before you know it. Oh man, what fucking crazy shit, man! A bunch of crazy shit. Anything else, Eddie?
No. Just thank you again for tuning in.
Do both Eddie and I thank you very much as we stare into the sun with our sunburn. We appreciate you guys watching, and we love you. Thank you for watching, guys.